You never know when your time is going to come. To rise above the rest. To seize the opportunity. To be crowned a champion.
Every once in a while, you get one of those final tables that you say, wow. Tonight is one of those.
Welcome back, everybody, to this, the WPT World Online Championships. Tonight, of course, event number 2, final table, the PLO Championship. 3K buy-in, 342 players. We are left with just 7, and over the next few hours, we will figure out who is going to be our champion. And look at this. Look at that beautiful face in the corner. I am joined this evening by none other than, well, Mr. Omaha, Mr. Joey Ingram. How are we doing, buddy?
What's up, brother? How's it going? That introduction was quite nice. We're on a beach. We were kind of transporting to the world right there. That was really nice. I mean, World Poker Tour. Now I understand it. It makes sense.
I figure you're not on the beach. I figured that's where you live, no?
No, I'm definitely at GTO headquarters here in Las Vegas, Nevada, very far away from the beach. There is not a beach anywhere close to me right now, so no.
Well, no beach, but hopefully some exciting PLO action coming up. Everyone currently guaranteed $30,759, but Joey, look at that. Just under 200K up top in a 3K PLO event. Pretty exciting stuff here on Party Poker.
Yeah, that's pretty sick. I was thinking, 10K buy-in, 196, not bad. 3K buy-in, 196, pretty good, right? I mean, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, and this is the kind of.
Do they get that great trophy? Is that trophy included too?
I don't think we get there's no Mike Sexton Champions Cup for this one, buddy. I don't know if they get a mini one.
They're in a big time. Wow, big time the PLO players like that, huh?
I know. There's no justice, huh?
Look at this lineup, kid. I see a couple guys. My Chilean mining friend, Alexo18, Alex Manzano down there. He's from Chile. Big into the Chilean mining business back in the day. I don't know if his family's still involved in that, but shout out to Alexo18 in here.
Dropping the knowledge on us, the Chilean mining scene. This is what we get.
Big Chilean mining guy. Yeah, big Chilean mining guy.
Wow. Well, I can tell you, I don't know if you got to see any of it last night, Joey, but this guy here, Paresh, popping up with the aces. He is an action player, let me tell you. Plays a lot of hands.
Action player. He likes to see hands. I like that. That's the right way to play Pop-A-Man Omaha. You want to respect the game by playing hands. You don't want to be a type player.
There we go. Well, he's not been accused of that last night. Certainly in there, calling plenty of 3-bets, busting some people, building that stack up to 9.5 million as we start the final. And hey, there he goes, off with the aces. Mike Lear, this guy in the big blind, Joey. Perhaps along with Benny, the kind of Mike's obviously just a strong tournament player overall, whereas Benny obviously is very famous for the mixed games. And Mike probably the one with the most experience, perhaps, in big events.
Yeah, Mike Lee obviously has been around for a very long time. We got Laszlo Buitas, aka Omaha for Rolls, the ACR rat hole god. I mean, this guy runs up stacks. I think we saw him at a couple of the PLO Poker Masters series events as well too. And obviously Benny Glazer, he's always in the mix. Shout out to Benny. He's always showing a lot of love for the content out there. And Alfred Carlson, do we know a lot about Alfred? He's from Sweden,
do not know a lot.
We know he's probably got great hair.
And he's probably played PLO since birth as well, if he's from Sweden.
Yeah, most likely. I mean, these guys are kind of short. Mike Lee has got the 6.5 big blinds. He's going to be having a prayer right now. Alfred's got 9 big blinds. We got Omaha for Rolls and Chilean Mining. Alex, they both have 60 big blinds. So we got some deeper stacks here. Paresh with 100 big blinds, which is very rare for a final table. I'll tell you that right now. And then Jesse's with 12. So we're going to have these 3 short stacks battle out here a little bit. And then so it's going to be interesting to see what kind of play we see. I imagine we're going to see a little more conservative play until one or two of these short stacks go out here or double up.
All right. What's going on here? Benny limping. I think just what you're saying there, obviously happy just to limp in. Doesn't necessarily want to play big pots off of 38 big blind stacks. So limps in. Paresh over limps. We go. Full way in. A little bit of spice here, Joey. Mike with the Jack 10-9, some bad spades. Paresh with Ace Jack 10, backdoor diamonds.
Yeah, Omaha for Rolls has that. Laszlo has that bottom set, that idiot set right there. Obviously, this kind of set 4-way. You don't love it. You're trying to see a safe turn card here.
Joey, I say that's why you're here, because I read his hand as Jack 664. You see, I'm already first hand in. I'm already
it's all good.
misreading cards.
I've been playing a lot of I've been playing a lot of 5, 10, 10, 20, or not a lot, but a decent amount of playing and studying recently. So I'm kind of locked in right now in the great game. Not as much tournaments, just because there's not many tournament options to play right now. But so everyone's gonna call here, huh? So everybody calls the flop right now, and Mike Leah has a half pot size bet left. Oh no, I'm sorry, he's got 62 big blinds. My bad, I'm tripping right now. I thought the 6.2 was 6.2 big blinds. Okay, this
look at that. We're both making mistake, guys, out there. We're both making. We can't read what's in front of her. I know those of you watching.
I've never seen. Yeah, I've never seen this setup before. This is very brand new for just right now. So what's going on with these setups is like it takes some time to get used to it.
Beautiful setup, I believe. And look at that, really clean run out for Laszlo.
Yeah, I mean, this is how good this guy runs. You know, he gets a clean run out on King Queen 4-way on this flop. So.
And
he's going to value bet here.
Yeah. Yeah, that is an unlikely clean run out. Laszlo. But again,
I think a lot of people are gonna overplay their bottom set kind of in that situation. So he just kind of played a conservative, waited for a clean run out, got a miracle run out. And
I guess it's kind of as you were saying, right? As we hopefully we'll look at the scoreboard, but exactly what you were just saying. Looking at those chip counts, Alfred and Jesse both very short. Perhaps the rest a little less inclined to get involved. Certainly, in a way of playing big pots, right? Benny, Alec, Mike, and Laz all gonna have to play a little snug with professional big stack.
Wow, this production's something else, isn't it?
We're messing around, Joey. Sharehand guys been at work for a couple of months building this up for us, and it is, I think, pretty sparkly.
You know, it'd be nice if we got like a photo of the people. You know what I mean? Like that. We got the country flags, which is nice, but maybe like a little photo. You know, maybe like a picture of them and one of their girlfriends or something like that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Maybe. Maybe we should picture their car. We throw a picture of their car in there. I don't know. I'm thinking about ideas right now. I'm getting brainstorming here. Get me on the phone with the share hand guys. I got some ideas for these people here.
I mean, the photo of the players is definitely something that's currently under consideration. The cars, the dogs, the cats. We haven't quite gone that deep yet, but maybe it's worth considering.
Yeah, you never know. Paresh flops top pair, open and straight draw. Benny has top 2 pair. But I don't think he's going to check raise here because he does have these other 2 short stacks here. So he might elect to see a safe turn card here too. But he does go with it. I mean, this is this is pretty. I mean,
and Paresh, I mean,
I don't know if everyone would always check raise. I mean, you have that top 2 pair. You have the King of Spades blocker, which is going to block a couple of hands he's going to continue with. So you do have a little more fold equity. But he's going to be all in here.
And needs to phase quite a few cards here. Obviously, the ace, queen, the 10, the 8, the king.
Oh,
there's an ace. There it is.
Oh my God. Wow.
Joey, just like that, Benny Glaser is out. Who would have thought Benny Glaser?
I get that. I get the logic. I mean, with these deeper stacks, I mean, you got a guy with 8 big blinds. Benny's got 30. You know, I can understand the allure of trying to take that pot down now, but
Well, there we go. Benny Glaser out in 7th, picking up just under 31k. Good game, Benny. I know Benny always watches the streams, so I don't know, maybe if he tuned in for this one, knowing he's going to bust out so soon. But if you have Benny, unlucky, man. Good game. It was a great run last night. Well, the rest of them guaranteed 41. And as Joey says, a couple of short stacks in there, rubbing their hands together.
I mean, they're real excited about that. They're like, okay, this is great for me. I mean, they got 8 big blind Alfred over there.
Yeah. It is beautiful.
Yeah, I think there, that would be a spot maybe you consider check calling. I mean, you do have the top 2 pair, you have the fold equity. But either way, if you do check raise there, you do have top 2 pair, right? So like, how bad can it be? But maybe that would be a spot where I might consider just check calling and then hoping for a
Right,
safe turn, and the ace comes not very happy about it.
Right, you can play some brick turns there, can't you? You can still check raise turn.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nice as well, Joe, as well, isn't it? Just in that situation, obviously, they still have some strong hands when we check call flop. We don't want to check call flop and just always have to fold a turn bets if we're in there with top two sometimes.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, maybe you could say like you might want to check call your weaker non-king, so king of spades maybe makes it more of a check raise versus if you have maybe. I mean, I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about what kind of side cards you'd like to have for your check raise there with Jack 9. For sure. But then there's the whole entire tournament dynamic, which changes things up a little bit as well, too. And also, Paresh, I mean, he's playing active, so he raised under the gun 7-handed. Theoretically, he should have a stronger range. I mean, maybe the guy's playing a lot of hands under the gun, too, so we don't necessarily know.
Yeah, and Mike opening up ace 7 6 6 with a nut suit flops middle set on 10 6 4. Life's good for Mike Lear right now. He's laddered up, he's flopping sets. And Jesse now slips just below that 10 big blind mark as well. He and Alfred, easily the two shortest stacks at the table.
He's still got plenty of play left here. Does he? Not really, but plenty of play. Why not?
Joey, he's got a chance, man. He's got a chance. He can spin it up.
Yeah, he's got a prayer for sure. I mean, listen, these 8 and 9 big blind PLO spots, they're just, there's something else. I'll tell you that. And there's something else. They're interesting. You play a lot of tournaments at all, James?
I mean, not enough because there just aren't enough of them, Joey. I mean, I love.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love my PLO cash, but tournaments pretty rare. This one
tells me there'll be some more series coming up here.
Yeah, sure.
The Poppy Invitational Potman Omaha series, and by invitational I mean anyone can play, but
invites for all.
Yeah, I feel it might be in the works. Mike raises up here. He checks the top kicker in this flop.
Yeah, Paresh not gonna bite. Check that one back. And I guess Joey board getting a little richer, but Mike happy just to check his jack again. Out of position against the chip leader.
What does that mean? Board gets richer. Does that mean it gets more
rich? We've got a bit more spice on them, man. We've got 2 flush draws. We've got some straight draws.
Okay, that's what we mean by rich. I never heard rich used in that context before. Now I have a new. You're like the Nick Schulman of Europe or something like that with that kind of call, huh?
Try and bring something different to how it goes.
I like it. It's cool.
All right, your man.
Nothing.
Your man, the minor. He's in here with a
Chilean minor, ace 9-9, beautiful hand. This hand 7-5-4-4 looks a little better than it is, especially with this stack size. If you're deeper stacked, I would raise it up, but he is going to go with it, and don't love it, but he does have that 7 big blind. He's going to be playing tight in the big blind, and he just has to hope Alexo doesn't have a hand. Unfortunately, he does have a hand, and I mean now when you get doing a 3-bet.
Well,
you're all in at the 7-5-4-4. It's not what you want.
No, it's not how he drew it up, and that's not the flop he was looking for either.
It's not what you want.
Wow, we're 5 minutes into this stream, Joe, and we've lost 2 players already. I thought this was
I would definitely. Yeah, I would definitely think about folding that hand pre-flop. I mean, I can understand the allure just with that big blind stack size too, but. Yeah, I mean 7-5-4-4. I think it just looks a little better than it actually is in tournaments, especially shallow stacks.
And how good is Alfred's life right now, guys? We're cutting away from the table every 2 seconds, but something keeps happening. There we go, Jesse Rockowitz out in 41k. Alfred and the others up to 55k already. What a start for Alfred! He's just folded about 4 hands and made 25k. Easy game. Yeah, that's that. Joey, I get what you're saying. Jesse's popped up there. He's going after Alfred in the big blind. But at the same time, if he just folds the button, Manzano from the small blind is just going to pot every hand, or near enough every hand, right? So it's like Alfred's not going to be able to win that pot, like getting a walk or whatever. He's going to have to be all in to win the pot. I don't know. I feel like I just let that one go and let Manzano do the dirty work for me.
Yeah, for this, that's another really good point too, right? Is maybe you fold that button and then hope that those 2 get into a spot where then you can ladder up too as well. It's a really good point.
Yeah, well, Alfred, perhaps now. I mean, he's got 10% of the chips of the other 3 medium stacks. That's how short he is
Jeez.
compared to
Oh my
them.
God, yeah. Look at that. That's pretty wild. Huh? 6. So we got. But we're gonna see some play here. Okay, this is deeper stack than I'm used to in the Poker Masters thing we did, the PLO series on Party Poker. Those were pretty short effective. These are deep. I mean, we got 130, 66, 66, 68, and then we got the lowly 6. We got to kick these short stacks out of the game. We hate short stacks around here, but I understand
Yeah.
they're a necessary evil.
Well, Joey, and as you say, not only is it super deep, but guys, remember if you were watching last night, we have reached the portion of the tournament where the blind levels are 30 minutes long, and we have every level, being that it is the WPT on Party Poker. So, as Joey says, we have a lot of deep PLO to come here.
I'm ready.
But I guess the one thing that's kind of holding that back, like you say, is Alfred in here, right? Because these guys aren't going to battle right now with Alfred so short. These guys know what they're doing.
I mean, you never know.
Well, you do never
You never know what we've seen so far. You never know.
Laszlo, happy to check that back. Aces and jacks. Scoop it up. And a good spot, Joey, for Paresh right now, right? With Alfred so short, the other three all about the same. Paresh can kind of pressure a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, not really. You know, he's only raising 3.5 big blinds. I mean, a lot of these guys can call. They're still 60 big blinds deep, and I don't know how. I mean, obviously you want to be big stack, right? But I wonder how advantageous it really is outside of just having those extra chips here in this particular spot. Now, maybe if we had a different, I mean, these guys are really deep, so I don't know how much it's going to matter to me. But maybe it matters a little more than I think.
Right, no, that's a good point Joey's making. Of course, you can pressure them, but he can't get them in by the river unless they want to get it in. So.
Right, exactly. Like they're risking 3.5 to call pre-flop, and then maybe 3 on the flop. So they're putting 6 big blinds up to risk to see the turn, and most likely the river oftentimes. So they can usually make pretty good decisions by later streets in that scenario.
Yeah, no, that's a very, very solid point. It'd be very different if they were shallow, but they're not shallow because it's deep structures here on Party. And what's going on here then? Zano.
Yeah, it looks like Alexa raised cutoff, King 994 check back, second net flush draw with the backdoor quad draw, and no one's really got much of anything here, just a couple flush draws.
The backdoor quad draw, I love the optimism.
Listen, man, when you turn that set, you're real excited because you think the backdoor quad draw might come in. I mean, it's very powerful and hidden. Plus it's hidden too. It's a really great thing about it is that they don't really see it coming when you make the backdoor quad or backdoor trips or anything like that.
No, they definitely don't see the backdoor quads coming too often.
Yeah, Lexo goes half pot here. I think Omaha for rolls 6 deuce of hearts in the big blind is going to call and lose here because I think you're calling. Yeah, I don't think he can fold any flushes here.
No. Mike tanking a little bit with just 2 pair, but as you suggested, Lazo does call.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Alexo can be bluffing there.
We got some crushers in Alexa then and Laszlo. Obviously, Mike, tournament crusher. Alfred, we don't know as much about. I do gather. I think most of his results have come in PLO. I think he is a PLO regular. And Paresh, I know a little bit about Paresh. Obviously, likes PLO. It's definitely his favorite game. Has multitude of caches in the game, but certainly, recreational, an amateur, but a serious amateur player.
I love that breakdown you just did about. He loves the game. He loves it. Doesn't play much. Sometimes plays a little bit. Amateur, recreational, but a serious amateur recreational player. I like that.
And if you look at his history, he started off. It looks like playing. There's this beautiful little tour, Joey, in the UK called the Amateur Poker Tour, and it's actually only amateurs allowed. It's like an association you can join. Cannot be a professional, but it's all very low stakes, Joe. It's very low stakes to get people into the game. Gives people opportunity to play live events with really deep structures for small amounts of money, right? So it's for enthusiasts. And that's where he's sort of appeared from. So his first caches came through that. So he's obviously come to the game from a point of, wanting to play poker just for the love of the game more than the money. And then obviously has got a bit more serious over the years.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's a good little system. Alfred, 6 bigs. He's got kings no suit.
I hate this spot. King, 6 big blinds, not even strong kings, living on a prayer, hoping they all fold. This is not the advantageous spot to be in, but he's going to take it down here, so.
Yeah. And I
When you
mean,
get
from a
this through, you're
tournament,
happy.
oh, even better. He's going to get a spin from the King 9-7 deuce.
I see.
Oh, Alex flops second pair. That's not a bad flop for Alfred, is it? I mean, we don't like seeing the 10-9, but we've got a 10, so we block.
Yeah, we got a 10, one spade. Block that with the kings in our hand too. We're gonna block some of the straight draws if he's got a straight draw here. They are gonna be all in.
Yeah, just paid a 9-7 or deuce.
That's
No,
a really
just
good
a
card
9.
for Alfred. Oh,
All right, here we go, Joey. Here we go. This is it. I think we can choose our hero here. We got the Alfred spin up on road. You know, you said let's get rid of these short stacks. Let's do it. Let's do it the old-fashioned way. Let's spin them up. Alfred up to 14 big blinds. Look, they see. Obviously, it's the first step of many for Alfred. Still very, very short, but does now perhaps have a little WPT over some opens. And who knows? Who knows what can happen? A couple more double ups, and he's right in the mix. Fresh still leading the way. Fine, 6K, 100K. And Joey, bit of PLO with antes. Just gets things going a little bit.
you said with antes gets things going a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, just add, I think in tournaments, I know there's been a little discussion about PLO with antes, and I feel like in cash games doesn't really need it. I mean, kind of the action moves quite nicely, but these tournaments certainly makes a little difference, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think a lot of the PLO tournament players have thought about or complained about rather, or maybe suggested, however you want to frame it. They've suggested that antes are involved in the process. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Mike makes a loose open here with the 8-7-7-3 double suited. Not the strongest hand. Most players would fold that hand, but he decides to mix it up. Alex has the 6-6 deuce deuce, which is a pretty decent hand. I mean, you're really just trying to flop a set. When you make a flush, it's not very strong flush, so you're trying to get the showdown oftentimes, or get one or two streets of later value here.
Right. I mean, like you say, a loose open from Mike, not just because of the hand, but Paresh on the button with that big stack as well.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Surprised he opened up. Wow, checks it back a second time. Gonna get some value at the
Yeah,
end here.
let's see if Alex, I imagine Alex will lead here for value and hope to get called by a straight type hand. And he does 1/3.
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. After
Yeah, for the most part.
after the open.
People might say, why does Mike not raise there? You just don't usually get value from much worse there. So you're happy to call there, and maybe you raise your higher flushes, your nut flush, your second nut flush. You might raise those hands, and by might I mean you most likely will.
Fresh ace 8-5 deuce double. Open it up. Alfred, well, garbage queens in the small.
Yeah, queen, 9 deuce. I mean, some people really love queens in tournaments, these PLO tournaments, especially when they're shorter stacks, because I think their equity goes up a little bit against other random hands. But I mean, yeah, this is pretty bad. Queens, queen, 9 deuce. You have a suit, but I think a large majority of the time I'm going to fold here. Most people would fold here, I think.
Nice.
But
gonna go for it. All right.
But not Alfred. I mean, you can see, right, he's 54-46 here against ace 8-5 deuce double suited, but doesn't mean anything till we see the flop here.
And well, Paresh flops a straight flush draw. So, I mean, what's Alfred do here? Just 4 bigs left. We've got to go for it, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is it.
And well, the equity's pretty much just switched around. Paresh, small favorite with that draw.
Oh wow, really good turn.
And there we go. All right. Hold for Alfred. And Joey, you think a little bit of that, like I say, he was so short. Do you think he's obviously knowing these guys are very unlikely to bust out before him? So kind of maybe err a little bit more on the gamble side. And maybe, like I say, Paresh was playing a lot of hands last night. Perhaps thinking, we'll give it a go.
Yeah, I
the
mean
bad
that's
point.
kind of, you look at the equities, right? I think a lot of people I mean, they may overrate queens. They just think queens pre-flop are like hot and cold equity wise. They're just doing a lot better than random 4-card hands. But even you saw there like 54%. So do you really want to take an all in there with no fold equity? Oftentimes, I mean, maybe you do, but I would suspect you don't have much fold equity there pre-flop. So do you want to take that spot? It's kind of up to you. It seems like a real big gamble to me, but I don't know. Of course, it can work out how it worked out. Now he doubled up, and now he's 27 big blind, so he's right back in the mix.
Yeah. I mean, unbelievably, 2 doubles, still the shortest, but certainly now has a fair amount of play
He's
in
got a
that
lot more.
stack.
I mean, I just looked up his photo, like I suspected. Tremendous hair. So shout out to Alfred, man. I mean, yeah. I just assumed that a Swedish guy playing Potlamonoha is gonna have great hair, and I was not disappointed when I saw these photos here on Google. So
All right, Alfred with the hair. I remember those days.
so Paresh might be thinking about calling here. Check back flop, check back turn. Laszlo goes for a big bet on the river with the 2 pair, hoping to get called by 1 pair hand. Ace king, aces, king queen. Basically any queen or aces he's targeting here. Potentially some other 2 pairs, but very unlikely.
Yeah.
Yes, interesting spot for Paresh when he played. I mean, he obviously, his range looks very weak here. Once he checks back 2 streets, he might be thinking he needs to call sometimes, and maybe aces is one of those hands to call with.
I mean, I guess okay, it does cool. I mean, Joey, I'm suggesting like obviously aces with a king, we're kind of snapping, right? Aces with no pair blocker is obviously going to be that little bit harder.
Yeah, exactly. I think that maybe our bottom of our calling range is aces, no pair blocker, and then if you have aces with a king, I think you're more likely to call. I mean, it's not necessarily a beautiful spot either way.
All right, guys. Well, it's been non-stop action at the start. I'm just trying to catch up with the Twitch chat. Good evening, all of you. I see. I'm not going to name everyone because I see you're all here. All the regs are in town for this one, PLO final table. I do see though the legend himself, Mr. Matt Savage, in the house, and Matt was asking about the guarantee. Yes, the first time in this WPT series, the guarantee was hit. No added money.
Not a coincidence it hit in the great game of Potlamonoha. Omaha.
Here we go, Joey. But Joey, I tell you what, the 300 was close to hitting the guarantee, wasn't a million miles off, but the $33 event had a whopping overlay. It was over 35K added for the $30 PLO players. So, guys, get involved. Head over to party. The smaller stakes are going to have the biggest guarantee, the biggest overlays. Pardon me.
So it was a 35K overlay, you said?
Yeah, it had a 100K guarantee in the $30 PLO, and it only collected 60 something K.
My man Rob Young's just fucking giving money out, isn't he? God damn, I mean.
It seems it, man. It seems it. Tree keeps giving. It's Paresh.
A series of overlays, huh?
I mean, that's the way it looks, Joe. I don't understand, Anyone can come play.
I understand why personally, but I'd be more than happy to explain it to anyone who doesn't understand. I can explain to you the current landscape of the online poker operators very well. Competitive market out there right now, James. Competitive market out there. You gotta be on your ABCs here. You gotta be on your toes.
Fresh. He's got kings as a blocker.
Laszlo has that.
He's got spades.
Yeah, that idiot straight there. Oof.
Fresh hits one of those draws.
He checks it.
Here's a more check. All right.
Whoa. I mean, maybe he's thinking that once Laszlo checks back flop, he's going to, when he calls turn, he has two pairs, flush draws, and maybe he wants to. I don't know. It's really weird check. I mean, I would think you just bet for value, hope to get called by a worse flush. I mean, maybe he's scared of getting raised. It seemed like a weird check. Maybe also it's good to include some of those flushes in your river check range. So maybe he thinks in the future makes him tougher to play against too. I don't know.
Right. But yeah, I'm with you. I think like we just bet that one, but there we go. Did check Laszlo top set And Alex, hello, 689. Little interest on the 7-5 flop. But obviously, well, and backdoor spades, in fact. I was about to say no hearts, but he does have the backdoor nut spades as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think he'll just check call this flop, especially with the hearts out there and these deeper stacks. See what size Omaha for rolls goes. Goes pretty big. Yeah, you like your hand here. You have that straight draw, but you don't necessarily want to pile a bunch of money in here without a also hearts. If you have hearts to go along with this, then you're more excited about it too. But right now, you're just calling and hoping to make a straight on the turn, and then if you hit a straight, you're going to decide if you want to lead or not. Turn to jack, not good for Alex. Laszlo also blocks that jack too, which is maybe a little relevant for something, but.
Right, I mean, I guess it's a bad thing in the sense that we're not going to have Alex turn some sort of two pair with a flush draw combo, right? When we hit the jack,
yeah,
or less likely to. I mean,
yeah, I think he just goes pot in the river. Basically, once Alex check calls the flop, his range is high flush draws, maybe overpair flush draw, straight draws as well too. So charging him the maximum there seems like a play. Also, sometimes maybe he has a weaker set potentially that he is looking for a save turn card. So you kind of get the maximum value there from your hand right there. And then maybe you pot it also with your semi bluffs too. So you're potting your set of sevens, you're potting your higher flush draws and your straight draws as well too, to work in your other bluffs.
All right, so nice.
I love seeing all the hole cards. It's so great.
Yeah, it's only makes things a little bit more interesting for those of us watching. And that's a nice hand to look down at. Manzano with the queen, jack, 10, 9, double. Look at that, Joey. They've even dealt about to him in a nice, pretty looking order.
I think Sherahan had a piece of that. I mean, maybe they did something to the system. You never know.
I think it looks that way as Laszlo leads out. All right.
Yeah, it's usually a good board for big blind range versus cutoff. I think you're going to have some leads here. Backdoor club draw and the 6 blocker. You also have that 10 in your hand, a little bit relevant. Deuce, not as much. But I think it's a decent hand to lead. I don't know. I think if a lot of people out there like tried leading hands like this in spots like this, it'd get himself in a lot of trouble. But as you can see, makes him fold. I mean, it's surprising to see him fold. He does have the gutter there to the nuts, and potentially you can get 2 streets. But your implied odds aren't necessarily that high when you do make your hand, and you're often going to be facing a lot of aggression on the turn. But I think you're going to be calling the turn. I think you'd call that hand with 2 backdoor flush draws.
Right. I was kind of surprised. I thought with the 2 backdoor flush draws, we'd slip in a cool there with the nut gutter, but.
I mean, you can also cooler Laszlo if he has, like, let's say you make your 8 on the turn, and he has like 5-9. You could potentially win a really big pot. If he has a 5, you're going to win at least 1 bigger bet. Theoretically, right. Maybe not. I would assume so.
Carlson's open here by Paresh, and that's a pretty good flop.
Yeah, good flop. You're kind of hoping your opponent has a king here. Obviously, we have the nut ace with the ace queen. But against a loose big blind defend range, they don't really have much here. So you're kind of praying that you sometimes even check this back. Bet small takes it down. Look at these spotlights in the back here. I'm liking this a lot. I got spotlights. We got logos. The logos are a little blended. We just need to roll flush girls. Where are the girls at?
It looks good, doesn't it, Joey? It looks good.
Yeah, it looks great.
Guys have done a fantastic job on giving us this platform. This platform that you'll see every Tuesday over the next few weeks as we play all the championship event final tables. Obviously, already we're coming to the end of PLO, Joey. We've had PLO 8 week and we've got PLO week, and then that's it. It's just the 2 cards reigning supreme for the rest of the series.
Well, I think the majority of people, the poker fans out there, love 2-card, right? 4 cards, a little more hardcore of a game. Not as much. I mean, there's just not as much PLO tournaments for people to really be interested in and build up that sort of enjoyment of watching it. So it's very sporadic and not necessarily very consistent. So I think the viewer trends out there right now heavily skew towards 2 cards. So I think the fans will be very happy to see more 2 card in here instead of 4 card. I mean, Omaha 8, very smaller level of interest compared to these other games.
Yeah, the 08 was it was like our little guinea pig. Threw it up here first. Get the 08s out the way, get the juices going. PLO, I mean, very few players these days who don't have some interest in PLO. It definitely has gained appeal.
Yeah, well, it usually takes like people to be ambassadors of the game or to just put a lot of content out about the game. And there's just overwhelmingly more Nolan Holm content now. And I mean, the Twitch is dominated by, there is no PLO players really on Twitch. Just all, there's like maybe 1 or 2. So to grow the game, theoretically, you'd want to have someone who streams the game consistently. And that's not really happening right now. So that would be a challenge to grow the game, is to have someone regularly do it. But you can't really play many tournaments of it, and for cash games, if you're playing at reasonable stakes, you're giving a lot away.
Right.
So it doesn't really make much sense to oftentimes do it, even though some players are trying to do it.
And Paresh, I mean, it'll stab on the ace deuce. Haven't opened, obviously, board. He's gonna want to bet very high frequency, going up 60k, 120k. Yeah, spicy one. 5 of the events of the 12 will get you on that trophy throughout this series. Mike Sexton, WPT Champions Cup. Joey, I don't know if you saw that last week, little announcement.
Yeah, I saw that. That's great. I mean, Mike Sexton, legend of the game, so I'm happy. We need like a Matt Savage trophy. Maybe we have like, I don't know. He needs something though, I think. You know what I mean? Maybe we give Matt Savage something too. Putting up with most players complaining in the history of the game. I think we give that to Matt Savage.
Yeah. What would be the fitting crown? Come on, guys. Let me know in the chat. What's the fitting? What can we dedicate to Matt Savage?
We can definitely dedicate to. Maybe anytime someone makes a complaint about a tournament structure, we associate it with Matt. Anytime someone makes a complaint about like ACR, we'll associate it with me. Anytime they complain about a structure tournament, they get Matt Savage. I don't know. What kind of trophy could he get? Maybe we give it to. This is a good question, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know, man.
We could think of something though for him.
I mean, the Matt Savage trophy's got to be, in some ways, got to be a phone. And I'm glad the guy's like surgically attached to that thing. answering tweet after tweet about rulings. Ace.
That's what I'm saying. King. Exactly. The guy's like he's the go-to person for those things for a lot of people out there.
Yeah. It's Ace King. Alfred opening up the Ace 10 deuce tray double. Joey, again, this is the kind of board, right? If you're opening button against big blind, you do get to have more of, right?
Oh yeah, definitely, yeah. I mean, you have more top of range here. I mean, but in this situation, I think big blind's gonna 3-bet aces almost always. So yeah, you just have more aces, more ace king theoretically as well too. But ranges are still quite wide here, just because he's opening the button and Laszlo's just calling in the big blind. Your button range is pretty wide, so you're gonna have a whole bunch of nonsense here.
So obviously chose to check back the ace 10 3 deuce, which is obviously one of the hands we would like to check back here. And checks again on the turn. Spades complete. That ace 10 gonna hold.
Hard to lose with ace 10 on ace king board. Yeah, he gets the showdown. I think some players might have c-bet the flop. But if you want to check back some hands, probably a few kings, ace 10. You're betting your stronger kings, betting your flush draws, betting your kind of air hands too.
Yeah, I guess it's a little awkward off Alfred's stack size there to be. You're going to have some more checkbacks, I guess, with what he had 16 blinds behind, I think it was. So, what an SPR of under 3. Manzano, ace, king 8 3, raising it up, flops king jack 7. But Laszlo from the small, the ace, queen 10 9 connects quite nicely on this king jack 7. Well, no surprise, Joe, to see it check through, and a gin turn card for Manzano.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious to see what bet size he'll go with here. And then if Laszlo will check call, he has that wrap, but when the king comes and you face a bet, some of your outs aren't very clean. Obviously, any heart. And even those high cards, once Alex bets, he could be having ace king, right? King 10, king queen.
Right. So there's a very good chance. What you're saying is that you can catch that straight and it houses up your opponent.
Exactly. Yeah.
Swiftly fold.
And even when you make your hand, or yeah, when you make your hand, you're just trying to get the showdown. But I think a lot of players might call there and thinking that their straight draw might be a little more powerful than it actually is. Maybe they wouldn't. Maybe they would fold. Maybe they would call. I don't know. I know some crazy players. I've been playing with some crazy players, James, and they certainly would not be folding the straight draw there. So
sounds like the other day you said you streamed some PLO. Is that right, for the first time in a long time?
Well, I never really streamed my play, but listen, we were having edibles in Potlam, Omaha, so I decided to back it up and stream a nice 5-10 ante-session. And it was a lot of fun. We had a bunch of people watching, and we crushed it. We won the 10K challenge playing 5-10 there, and then we unfortunately lost a really big pot in a ridiculous fashion. So that ruined the finishing. You got to close. Sometimes do these challenges where I try to win 5K or 10K. I try to run up to 10 times my stack, my buy-in. So once I actually get there, that's what I would say, I won it. So if I fall from there, I don't really mind as much. But the challenge is just to get there. So
you did get
got there on stream. It was pretty fun.
Here we go. And action
Not much.
Paresh on the button. I see it looks like Matt's
Paresh,
all right
I
with
like it. I mean, 9-8-7 deuce. The great thing about that hand is you can make a straight. So that's perfect. And you got the button. I mean, yeah, listen, you got to play hands. You got to get in the middle.
Bottom two, blocker to the straight, but Manzano with, 2 9s.
And 2 backdoor quadras.
Yeah. It's actually, there's a lot of options for these hands, Joey.
And a gutter. So let's see what he does here. Could check raise, could check call, could check fold. Nothing would surprise me. He does put his blockers into action right here. Paresh might think about calling with a 9. I mean, preferably you want to have Jack 8 here with a 9, Jack 7 with a 9. And you're thinking about calling check raises here.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty tough spot. But like you say, the 9 helps, but yeah, no surprise. See that hit the bin.
That's the good thing about if you open up pre-flop and you don't really want to compound your mistakes and turn a 9-8-7 deuce open on the button into a whole party down later streets. You know what I mean? Like before you know it, you're putting in 60 big blinds.
When you tell the story later on, you're like, so I got out the 9-8-7 deuce. We raised it up. Yeah.
The story's never gone well, right? You flopped a straight, you're complaining to your friend, you got all in, you lost, and you're like, well, I mean, you had 9-8-7 deuce pre-flop, so you could just laid that one down.
Laszlo, the jack. 9-8 double suited. Popping it up. Taking it down.
I feel like I've heard your voice so much on over commentary that it's really strange seeing your face with the same voice. You know what I mean? Very, very, very strange.
The mysterious voice now has a face. Joey, they gave me a camera. They've they locked me away. I've gone feral. This thing didn't used to be here before lockdown, but
yeah. In my mind, I thought you looked 30 years older than you look too. I just had just a voice, a classic voice. It's like the most classic announcer voice in my mind. I pictured this just old school, just got old school voice, but you're a young cat over there, man.
I feel like that's a good thing. I feel like take that, unless it's just the fact that my insights are so bad. You think, wow, that guy must have been playing poker back in the 70s when everyone was bad.
You and Doyle Brunson, Chip Reese were grinding out in Vegas back in the 70s, huh?
Yeah. And the games were good back then. You'd have liked them.
I mean, listen, I imagine they were a lot of out of line activity happening in those games.
Speaking of, not out of line. But, yeah, Laszlo with the 3-bet.
So you can see, Alfred, if you watched earlier, you said, okay, well, he went with the queen 9 deuce hand. Maybe that the difference in spots was that he's facing against Paresh. Maybe he thinks Paresh is opening up too wide. He also has shorter stack. Now, when he gets 3-bet, most times your opponents are 3-betting double-suited ace-high rundowns, good kings, and aces. So your double-suited queens, while they look really good, they're actually not very good against your opponent's range. And plus, you don't have the fold equity in that situation too. So that's why he decides to lay that one down.
And then Mike, a little wide here under the gun. Queen 6-4-3 double.
He's
guess
rolling low frequency under the gun opens. I like it. Wow,
Yeah.
this is amazing for Alfred. I mean, this is great because now he gets the pot. He hopefully gets to get 3.57 big blinds of dead money in here.
Yeah, huge.
And he's going to be in a tremendous spot here. I mean, you know, not necessarily. You probably want to get some money in pre and then flop a strong hand and get more money in. But all things considered, not a bad spot to be in here.
Yeah. Smashes it from the big. And, well, who's giving him a spin, Joey?
These guys are in. Oh. Okay.
Wow.
Laszlo's going with it. Ace Jack 9 deuce double suited.
Yeah. Well, that's I don't know, Joey. You tell me. Big flop for Alfred.
Flop for Alfred. Laszlo needs a diamond, 9, or deuce, or jack.
The 9's not even any good. Jack.
Oh, yeah.
Jack or deuce or diamond, and there it is. Wow. Alfred, from dust up to a 5 million chip pot, the river working against him. Laszlo now take the chip lead. First time on the final. Has moved away from that one panned out, but I mean, ultimately came in here super short, did ladder up to 5th, picking up an extra 25k. But yeah, they teased him, Joe. They teased him. They gave him a couple of double ups, and they gave him a great spot to get a 3rd double up and really be in the mix. But,
yeah, I mean, they really did. That's a really good way to look at it. They definitely teased him pretty hard. They gave it to him, and they got him excited. And 3 a.m. they left him at the bar, and he had to fend for himself and make his way home in his own taxi. So
at least he's got the hair, though. Hey.
I mean, beautiful hair, honestly. I mean, if I had hair like that, no matter what position I finished in this tournament, I'd be pretty happy about it. So, but I think that play from Laszlo, basically what he's thinking is that even if he doesn't have the right, even if his equity, if he's not getting as a favorite, he's getting it in with 7.5 big blinds dead, plus the ante, plus the small blind. So maybe he's just willing to gamble in that spot too. I mean, it's a little loose, right? I don't know if everyone do that, but good things can happen sometimes, like what we saw.
Yeah. Well, good things did happen for Laszlo. Now, of course, as well, it's that chip lead, 4-handed. But I mean,
yeah,
kind of as you
I imagine we turn up the heat a little bit here.
Right. I mean,
although he doesn't. I mean, he can't really because he has that bigger stack behind him too, and they're all pretty deeper. So maybe we won't. But I know he likes playing.
They're deeper, but Joey, I mean, the blinds are going to go up. I mean, that goes without saying. But you know what I mean? That he is going to get to use this stack, you would imagine.
Well, he uses this stack no matter what, so I definitely see him using the stack here. He does got Mike Lee. I mean, Mike Lee seems like play hands too, so he's kind of in a, you know, not the best spot here with a very aggressive player behind him, and then he's got Paresh as well too.
Yeah, Paresh has actually been pretty quiet so far today in that. Has got himself down to that final 4. Still with a big stack himself, just over the 10 million chip mark. And, well, there you go. So he's quiet, and he gets dealt the ace-king, 10-3, double popping it up. Mike with... Joey, these hands I'm never quite sure about. These kind of like the ace-king with a suit with a small pair. How do we like these?
We don't love them. I mean, you end up flopping... even when you flop a set with these kind of hands, not always the best sets to have. The 6, and you get a lot of money with the 6. Normally, you're against some pretty strong hands or pretty strong draws. But I think they're like on the cusp. Normally, you kind of play those more conservative than not. But
well,
you can always flop you can flop some strong top pairs, and you can flop enough flush draws, and so I understand the allure. And sometimes you just want to get it in there with enough. You want to get in the hand when you have a nut flush draw type hand like that.
Yeah. Well, Paresh flopped the nut flush draw, led out, got called by Laszlo with that wrap, and Paresh checks back the heart when he makes the nuts. I mean, river pairs. Laszlo doesn't stab at it, Joey. He's seen this one a few times before, perhaps.
Well, he also blocks the hands he wants Paresh to have. So you want Paresh to have straight draws, and you have the straight draw. So, and also we can kind of see Paresh just kind of taking some tricky spots. He did the tricky spot with the ace high flush here. He did that tricky thing earlier with the king high flush. So it just kind of seems like maybe what I suspected, where he's just kind of doing some random things with some strong parts of his range, and we'll see how it benefits him here.
Laszlo limping in 10-10-8-6 blind on blind against Paresh.
Yeah, most blind versus blind battles end up being small blind limps in, and kind of plays it from there. With some of these guys are playing very large percentage of hands from the small blind, whereas weaker players maybe play a little bit less. Yeah, Laszlo check calls turn here. He's probably gonna be check calling any ace and then pairs above 7 because Paresh could be stabbing here pretty wide. Paresh checks back river with the bottom with trip 4s when the flush gets there.
Now from the button.
Look at these equities. Jack 10, 3 deuce, 48% against 9-7-6-6. But you don't necessarily get to realize all that equity too. So, but Alex is clearly not folding the big blind, so he's playing everything.
Go. It's one of these spots where he does perhaps get to realize it because he's flopped top and bottom, albeit it's always a little dicey board for him. Sees it go check, check.
This is the definition of a dicey board for top and bottom pair, correct? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Turn card. Brings him hearts. Brings him a gut shot draw as well, but Jack probably...
He might consider stabbing this hand. I don't think so, though. You can just check call this hand with the flush draw, the jack, and the 2 pairs still. Oh, my gosh.
Bad river. Laszlo makes trip 9s. Yeah, Alex will check once again. Laszlo goes 2 blinds, 1/3 pot.
Yeah, let's see what Alex does here.
I mean,
with the 10 and the jack,
right? I mean, Laszlo. I mean, I don't know, Jerry. I don't know. How often does Laszlo have a 9 here, which is basically what he's saying he's got?
Right, exactly. I mean, he certainly would be bluffing the size too. So, but also you might argue maybe he would start bluffing in earlier streets too. But I can understand both sides. I can understand why Alex would want to call there. Maybe he thinks that he wants to call his kings, he wants to call his 10s, he blocks queen jack. So I can understand the logic of wanting to call there.
A walk?
Yeah,
no, not a walk. Pardon me. What
do you got there? What are you drinking?
Ooh. See, this is just water, Joey. This is bad, isn't it? But when it was see-through, I could lie to you and tell you stuff.
I know. This whole see-through technology is pretty wild. I've never seen this before on Skype. This is different for me.
Disappear.
Tripping me out a little bit here.
Hey, come on, Joey. I mean, you're Mr. Poker content. We've got to get you with some funky backgrounds. This could be it.
Yeah, normally, yeah, that's a good point. I mean, listen, my production certainly could use a little bit of work, but the content itself, James.
Substance over style, Joey. Substance over style. Laszlo. Chip leader, 104 blinds, 12.5 million. He and Paresh pretty even. Alex with 5.9 million. Mike the shortest, but still with 35 blinds. Loads of play in this one, guys. And it looks like, actually, Joey, looking at the time, I think we have reached our first break of the evening.
Okay.
Oh no, maybe
At Party Poker, we think poker should be fair as well as fun. Not like some of these guys letting predators get out of control. So unfair. You don't even stand a chance. It's like us getting in the ring with a boxing heavyweight. This is a David and Goliath situation. We're all Davids now. You know what that means. It's time for us to kick some Goliath butt. Yeah, you better stop it, all right? It's on. You love fair poker? Join Party.
Hey everyone, it's Matt Savage and you're watching the Savage Beat of the Week. The setup hand of the week was a real cooler when Kareem Wilkins flopped a set of threes up against Marcel Souza's ace-4 for top 2. When the money went in on the flop, it didn't change. The two chip leaders go to war and Kareem Wilkins comes out on top, eliminating the 7th place finisher Marcel Souza. Our nit of the week is a tough one because it turns out to be the right fold. When the board comes king 9-5, Marcel Souza makes it $195,000. Mike Patrick with ace king, top pair, top kicker, he lays it down. That's our nit of the week. It was the right move, but I still think it's pretty nitty. The luck box hand of the week is when Michelle Zago has queen 10 up against Gabrielle Laporte's 2 queens. Now, the money went in with Michelle drawing to only 2 outs, a 10. And only a 10 is what she could have to eliminate Gabrielle Laporte. And guess what happened? It did. The luck box hand of the week goes to Michelle Zago. Our roller coaster hand of the week was a great one when Itar had the ace king up against Hans Klinsmann looking for a double up with the 2 jacks. Pocket jacks for Klinsmann, ace king for Itar. Now the flop came down a queen, a jack, and a 10. So he flopped a set, but Itar had the straight. But on the turn came the 4th jack, and Hans Klinsmann gets a much needed double up to stay in the tournament.
At Party Poker, we put players first because we are players first. Can't love poker if you're not into poker. You gotta be into it. You see my dog right here? My dog's name is Royal. See my cat? My cat's name is Flush. Look at all of my furnishings. Get a good look at it, huh? That's how into poker we are. That's why we got you. Love poker? Join Party.
Starting this July 29th, some of the most recognizable faces in poker and beyond will have a $500 bounty on their head in our $500,000 guaranteed WPT Shooting Stars charity event. Party Poker is pledging all registration fees to the charity One Day Sooner, whose mission is to advocate on behalf of volunteers for the COVID-19 human control trials, with the ultimate goal of the development of a vaccine. Some of the shooting stars include Party Poker ambassador Sam Trickett and poker pro Igor Kurganov, who has pledged to donate any possible winnings to One Day Sooner. A $1,100 buy-in will secure your seat amongst the stars, with $100 being donated to One Day Sooner. We cannot wait for this super fun, star-studded event that supports such a great cause.
Life don't change until you change. Ooh, something. We're all different but the same. We work hard and then we play. Life's a party, yeah. So enjoy yourself.
You never know when your time is going to come to rise above the rest, to seize the opportunity, to be crowned a champion.
Every once in a while, you get one of those final tables that you say, wow. Tonight is one of those.
Alright guys, welcome back to this, the WPT Omaha Championship. We are on our final table. We are down to our final 4. Benny, Jesse, and Alfred already out of the door. Benny picking up 30k, Jesse 41, Alfred just a shade under 55. We've got a lot of money still to play for, and of course, the title of ELO champion here at WPT Online Championship. 197k goes along with it. And I am, of course, joined by my man, Joey Ingram. How we doing, Joey?
I was just admiring this. First of all, I was admiring those nice commercials that were just happening. I mean, it was real good. And then I saw this great graphic that Party Poker did, and now I'm just like, I need to hire some new production people and graphic designers. And by that, hire new ones, I mean hire anybody, because I do all this kind of stuff myself. Because it's so beautiful. I mean, my God, it's like they're flying through worlds and stuff like that on here, man.
There we go. That's what you get when you get share-handed.
WPT knows how to make things look beautiful. I'll tell you that right now, man. These guys are real good at making things look good. Aye.
Things that look all right. Mike Lay of Kings finds Queen 8 flop. Laszlo, though, does have nut diamonds. This one's going to check through three-way. And there we go. Laszlo with diamonds on the turn. Guys, how are you doing this evening? Glad you're all with us. Just having a little peruse through the Twitch chat on that break. And I like it. We got some Manzano and fans in the house. We got some Mike Lear fans in the house. No surprise there. Ivan was rooting for Jesse. That was perhaps based on last night. Joey, we gave him a little promotion last night. I had to guess who was going to be the chip leader at the end of the day. We had some ups and downs along the way. You know, someone did have Paresh though. I'm trying to remember who.
You're talking about Paresh?
Yeah, someone had Paresh. But actually, I thought what was quite good was Benny was in the chat last night as well, and he decided to take Mike Lear as the end of day chip leader as a little hedge. You know, and can try and win himself a $30 ticket if he didn't end the day as chip leader. Smart stuff, you know.
Doesn't seem like that idea worked out for him very well, huh?
It didn't work out. Mike didn't finish there as chip leader. Benny out in 7th. Mike's still in here though with 4 left.
Alex, I mean, Queen 9 8-6, an aggressive buttoned. Wow, these guys are fucking taking it to the streets. Wow, these guys are taking it. I mean, this is like a cash game. These guys definitely play together a lot.
Yeah,
look at that. What's going on here?
What is going on here, Joey?
Holy moly, guacamole! What's going on here? 50, 51, 49. It's a coin flip here, James.
Yeah, and this pot is
4,
massive.
6, 8, 9, Jack. Oh!
Wow! What happened there, Joey? Here we go. These guys are battling.
Well, I think Alex was thinking that he wants to have some other hands besides aces and kings in his 3-bet range, and he'd like to put in a Queen 9 8-6 double suited. Laszlo with the ace queen queen 8. Most players might call there. He decided, okay, he's 3-betting me light. I'm going to go with it. Alex thinks he's playing a cash game, makes the call there, and then the rest plays itself on the flop. I mean, that's how it is.
Yeah, but what a change this is now. Alex with the chip lead. Laszlo, of course, still very comfortable with those 60 big blinds, but big.
I like it. I mean, it's how you win tournaments, James. You got to put your chips in there for a chance to win.
For it, man. We got 200k up top. Let's go for it. We got a title up top, man. How often do you get to, how many times are you going to be able to be a WPT PLO champion? You know?
Maybe never again. I mean, I don't know, a small chance, right? Maybe there's never another series, and I don't even know if they have live PLO events really for these kind of things. So I don't know.
Oh, exactly.
Paresh here is in quite the dandy of a spot here, raising with the King 7-6-5. Flops that backdoor flush draw with the middle pair. They're not loving it. Alex has a marginal 2-pair here, top and bottom, German 2-pair. I suspect this river will go check, check. Alex has tried to show his hand down.
Yeah. 1 minute you're getting the lot in with the Queen 9-6-5, whatever it was. Next minute you're getting 2-pair, just checking it back. That's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, that's a little different. Still a different spot, I think, on that turn, right? You kind of want to have some stronger 2 pairs in your check back range, and
yeah, of course.
I think that's a fine play to make.
But a change means Manzano up to 13.3 million. Laszlo, though, as I say, he's still pretty good here. Just a little under the average. But look at that. Mike Lear, shortest stack, still has 31 big blinds. Of course, playing shorthanded PLO, 31 big blinds. You're gonna be getting in some spots. Certainly not desperate. And well, Mike probably be a little bit maybe less inclined to get involved in pots when he saw Alex and Laszlo get those two hands in, right?
I mean, yeah, you would think so, right? But I mean, he does have a lot of chips here. 30 big blinds is a lot for these tournaments.
Yeah.
So you don't need to start forcing the issue very much.
No, I can say like ladder ups look possible.
Mm-hmm. They're playing to win, James. They're not playing a ladder. Do you think Alex Manzano is playing to ladder? No, my man's playing to win. He wants to take home the $200,000 to Chile and have a Chilean party down there.
I mean, I want to go to this party. If he's gonna have $200,000 with him. That's a good ingredient for any party.
Are you good at flag identification?
Yeah, Laszlo's is that Bulgaria, right? Is that Hungary?
Hungary.
Clearly, I'm not good at flags. Yeah, I think Hungary. I probably should just know that anyway, given.
Yeah, how are you not familiar with the Hungarian flag, James? I mean, it's preposterous that you wouldn't be familiar with that.
Yeah, we've all got one flag over here, man. You know, we're one happy
What's
family.
that?
Joey, look, switch it up, man. This is my excuse. You see, I'm on the beer now, so that's why.
Oh, nice. Okay, they're letting World Poker Tour letting you drink in the job, huh?
I don't know. We're gonna find out. we'll know in a minute. Like,
wait, is that Adam Pliska, WPT president, on the phone calling you right now, James? Go ahead and answer that one. Laszlo turns the nut blockers here, James, with the pocket 5. So he's still got that flush draw. Obviously, Paresh is going to check call top 2 with the blocker to straight himself as well. He's going to be praying for an ace or a 10 river because all the other river cards are bad for him except a 6, 7, 8, 9. Folds it. What the? Jeremy, be careful.
I don't know what happened there, Joey. What happened?
He might have saw the river. I mean, maybe he can see the cards in the river. I don't know. Maybe he knew the river was a bad river and he laid it down there.
Yeah, that was a surprising one, guys.
Yeah, I mean, listen, yeah.
Hey, Joey, we've always got the out. When it's online poker, we can say maybe it was a misclick. You know, that's always your, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I see where he's coming from. He's facing a big bet. He might think that there's a lot of scary river cards. He's going to end up facing another big bet on the river. He just doesn't want to face that. But when you do have those, he does have the 5 out as well, too. He'd make a straight. He's got 4 nut outs, right? I mean, yeah, it's interesting there. And Mike Leah check raises with the kings here. King, king, 5 deuce with the flush draw. And folds out aces there from Laszlo.
Yeah, a curious check raise there, Joey, I think, with kings and the diamonds on that board. I mean, obviously, absolute perfect line if we know we're up against the aces, which he was. But seems like we just end up folding out everything worse and kind of getting stuck against hands that beat us. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think the standard would be to check call there. Yeah. But when you know your opponent has 3 aces in his hand, that's when it becomes GTO to check raise that.
I mean, yeah, it looked pretty bossy in this spot. Maybe that's what's going on here, Joey. These guys can see each other's cards. Things are starting to make a bit more sense.
Yeah, that would, right? Maybe Alex knew that queen 9-8-6 was gonna. Maybe Laszlo's the only one not really knowing what's happening here. I don't know. Paresh top set doesn't get any action, unfortunately. Yeah, I'm looking up Paresh right now. He, I like his look. He looks like a very nice kid, guy, man. Not in this photo. Doesn't look very happy in this photo. When I think of Omaha for rolls, I just know he's got a bunch of like the kid likes working out, so he's got like some workout photos on his Facebook page, and those are the kind of things I think about when I think about him. Laszlo, sorry. And then Mike Leah, I just think of someone who's always grinding every event at the World Series of Poker every summer.
Yeah,
and seems to go deep in a bunch of events constantly.
I mean, Yeah, Mike just plays a lot of poker, doesn't he? A lot of poker tournaments. I mean, that guy chases leaderboards, he chases money, chases titles, the lot. Always, it seems that
he's on a constant chase, James, is what you're saying. He's constantly after what's next. He's never satisfied with the present. He's always looking forward to the future.
Man, I envy it. I have to say, that drive some people have. It's like Joey when it comes to creating content, man. There's never a day off, huh? It's just
no. I take breaks. I took like a couple months off. That's the thing, is you have to take breaks, otherwise you get burnt out. So if you don't keep setting new challenges or new goals for yourself and what you're doing, and you're not trying to progress at what you're doing, it's very easy to burn out because you can't find the motivation each day to wake up and continue doing what you're doing. So you have to kind of reframe what your challenge or goal or what's motivating you. And sometimes you need to take a break in order to do that and take another knowledge and then come back and look at your situation and say, okay, here's why I'm doing what I'm doing. But if you're currently entrenched in it constantly, you can't necessarily do that and take the time. So,
Joey, this is all great stuff. But look at this flop. We've got the Broadway.
This is the craziest flop I've ever seen.
And we've got a set
for I mean, this is like, I mean, bottom, yeah, he's gonna go with the idiot set here. And when you get your money all in with the idiot set, you feel like an idiot by the river because we're gonna find out. Oh my, well, never mind.
Not over yet.
He's a tenor or queen. He's a tenor or queen.
Or the jack of clubs, right? We had the royal.
Oh.
Bottom set not looking so bad now, Joey. Bottom set turns out to be bottom quads.
He looked it in the face. He looked the idiot set in the face and said, "I'm making 4 of a kind, baby." Took it down. Nice hand for Paresh. Wow.
That was pretty ridiculous flop. The king, queen, 4 saw all the action. Mike Lear, well, just talking about his constant drive, his push forward. He's going no further here, busting out for 76k. But a good start the series for him. Now, everyone, guaranteed 100k. We got a 40k jump and then a 50k jump. So almost, I mean, a little bit of a kind of the jump between second and first and third and second are pretty similar, Joey. So maybe we'll see some KG play, or like, I mean, I've been saying that all tournament. We haven't seen it yet. I don't
know. KG and these guys.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what you mean by KG, but I feel like these are not the KG players we're looking for right now. So let me. You got some lingo, kid. You have a dictionary for your words. KG, reluctant to give information owing to caution or suspicion. Nope, I don't think so. I don't think we're going to see very cautious play here, James.
No, you're right. These guys have been they've been butting heads. Well, Paresh with the chip lead now, of course, having won that, but just shade ahead of Manzano, but not much in it.
I mean, can you imagine flopping the hand that Mike Leah had, the ace jack 10-10 with the gut shot straight flush draw and the backdoor quad draw, getting all in, and your opponent doesn't have a king or queen and losing the hand? I mean, it's preposterous to even fantasize about, really. I mean, it's...
Leah even had like the backdoor diamonds covered as well. Like, that's the thing, but his hand couldn't look any better on that board. Not the Broadway wrap.
Like, you put a gun to my head, James, and you say, pull the trigger, you missed this. I'm taking the shot. Okay, I'm gonna go for it. Now, obviously, that's one of the dumbest things anyone could ever do. But
you do dumb stuff all the time, man. What do you want?
I'm getting older now, not as much anymore. But when I was younger, sometimes you took that risk.
Okay, high stakes, super high stakes. That one. This one, checking through.
You never played you never played in a game where they put a gun to your head and said, if you miss this draw, you're gonna die.
I mean, I like it. I think you get a little rush out of the game. Paresh betting his 5 on the end. Alex gonna call with the kings. Pretty standard stuff. Yeah, Joey, I haven't played many of those games. Where do they go off? Are they,
Well, you probably don't want to go to the locations, to be honest with you. But and I certainly have not gone to any of these type of games in quite some time. Once I learned about how the game works, so. The problem with those games is they tend to bring other things with them, right? There may be some performance-enhancing drugs available in the game. There might be some people not paying you in the game. There might be some Chinese devices in the game, right? Like that come straight from China and Alibaba. So there's like a lot of things in that game that, there's people wearing glasses. They look a little strange, maybe weirdly tinted. You never know what's really happening in these games. There might be a back room with some information that's relayed there. the underground. I tend to talk about the more positive things, not always, but the underground world is quite a fascinating thing no one discusses in poker.
I mean, we you're quite right on that, and it's something that kind of glossed over for a while. But I feel like, Joe, you're the guy who goes in there and gets this stuff for us, man. You're the guy who's going to investigate all this. This is what you.
I got one coming. Buddy.
All right. That's what I mean. We need something from you. Come on. Like you can't just give us Postle and then just not bring us the next scandal.
I got a lot on deck. It's just a matter of what do you want to talk about and why. You know what I mean? So it's because none of it really paints online poker or poker in general in good lights, even though it draws attention to the game. When you come out with some of these things that allegedly may or may not be happening, then
Sure.
Oh, look at this.
Yeah, another big flop for Paresh. And Alex.
7-6-3. Ooh.
Yeah, the premiums are getting it done today, Joey. Checks it back. Oh, sorry, checks it and then turns the nuts with a set, with a flush draw.
Mm-hmm.
Too much of that one.
So you see Alex there had the pocket sevens in his hand, so he had those blockers, but he chose not to. He folded pretty quickly. Didn't even think about potentially playing his blockers there.
Yeah, maybe cool. At least maybe cool once when we had a 10 and we got 2 7s. It seems like a spot that we don't necessarily want to fold straight away, but he did do just that.
Yeah. A little surprising, but we'll move on to the next hand here.
Yeah. Going on here. Paresh top pair. Lazo with a flush draw. Alex with, bottom pair, but nothing else to go with it. Until then, now he picks up that.
Yeah, James, break it down. What do we got here? What are the hands? What do we got?
Alex gets that. He's got the little inside rat man. This is the hand. I like these little ones. They're like the punter's hands. I've lost.
So out of all these hands, you want the 10-9 Jack 5, huh?
I'm not saying I want it. I'm just saying I've lost a lot of money to that hand in my life. The guy turns up on the river. He's like, well, I had the 9-10 Jack. And
that's because when you see him by the river, the only time you see him is when they make the straight and you end up shipping them a bunch of money. When all the other times they miss, you just take it down and that's it. You don't think much about it.
No, but I want to be the guy with that hand sometimes. It's fun.
Oh, it's so fun. Oh no, it's way. I mean, now you don't. Now this isn't the best bluff river for you because you're representing a straight, and the 6. I mean, theoretically, you're not too worried about 2 pair. I think Laszlo's going to c-bet his queen 6, some of his 6-5s as well. So he does bet the river because he hit the bottom of his range and he takes it down.
I was going to say you can kind of bet. You can still bet a straight here, right? Just a smaller sizing. So that's what he does.
Yeah. Yeah, you bet a smaller sizing and say your prayers, you don't get raised. Or you excited that he raised because you think he's full of it and you can call him. What time is it over there, James? What do you got there now?
It is 9:15, my man. It's definitely beer o'clock. You're probably getting ready for some lunch. I'm gonna get some beers down me.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a video after I get done here, and then I'm playing a poker. I don't know if it's like a charity event, some kind of cool event later tonight with this Run Good Poker Series here in America, which is pretty cool.
Nice.
So,
well, guys, don't forget here in the WPT, we do of course have that Shooting Stars WPT charity event tomorrow night, where you guys can watch it right here on Twitch. We'll be covering that one over the next 2 days. In fact, 2-day event. That one raising money for
that'll be cool.
COVID. Yeah, we got some fun stuff in there. We got a lot of big name poker players in it, Joey, and then we got some names from the sporting world as well. So
that's cool. Good. Is Kevin Hart gonna play, or is he can't play?
He can't play, I think. Yeah, obviously. Oh, what a crazy world we live in, Joey, huh? Where people can't play online poker necessarily. Well, they can play it, but you know what I mean.
He didn't get his account verified in time. Kevin Hart, trapped in LA, couldn't come play. How many commercials did they shoot with this guy? I feel like they were just shooting at this guy's house all day long. There's like 100 variations of all these commercials he has.
Man, you got to get your money's worth, right?
Did they write that? I want to meet the writer. I want to meet the person who wrote that. This is my catfish. This is my dog, Royal. Flush. I think he said Flush was the cat's name or something like that, right?
Yeah,
I like
mean,
it. I want to know who wrote those commercials.
you're kind of implying he didn't write his own stuff. Is that what you're saying?
Definitely, yeah. 100%. 100%, yeah. Usually the people that end up writing these things like don't really even know much about poker. And they're like, from my experience at least, they're like telling you what to say, and you're like, do you know what you're talking about? And then, sometimes they don't. So it happens though. Doesn't mean they can't do a great job with the script. It just means that it doesn't really sound as. Maybe that's the point. Is it? Maybe I'm looking at it.
It sounds right to the people who don't know. See,
that's exactly what I'm saying, right? Maybe I'm looking at it wrong here. Maybe that's what you got to do.
They're trying to attract new blood, not this, withered, like aware Joey Ingram guy who's going to just be on everything.
No, man, I'm here to mix it up. I play hands.
You're too sharp.
But yeah, I mean, I understand. I get what you're saying though. It's true.
Paresh gonna pop it up. Ace Jack 6-4 nut suit. Laszlo defends the Ace King 9-5.
Laszlo dipping a little bit here, James. 35 big blinds. He was up over 100 big blinds. Obviously lost that massive pot to Alex with the Ace Queen Queen 8, and now he's momentum is not on his side.
Yeah. Well, this one perhaps gonna get him a few chips back. Not enough to make much of a difference, but
he's gonna bluff this river here with the 5. I'm guessing he's trying to get him off one pair that might be better than his, maybe an overpair or a 10. Makes sense. Maybe Ace 9 too, maybe a chop.
Now, I want to know, how do we know this so much about this Manzano then? Give us a bit more information on him, Joey.
Oh, well, he's more like older school PLO from like my generation of online players from the 2010, 2011 kind of time period. So he's actually got a real interesting story. He like when I think when I started my content, he was playing a lot of poker too, and yeah, I mean, I don't know, his like parents Chilean mining, they're in that sort of Chilean mining world kind of like that. And I remember there was this one guy that came along. There was this guy, I met this, like, I always meet these like really kind of strange people on the internet that once I started doing content, they always try to befriend you because you make content, and they just, for some reason, that makes them want to be friends with you. And I met this one guy from Canada who's a little bit strange of a guy who I had on my show a few times, right? And I was like, listen, this guy is like not, I have him on my show, but I wouldn't trust this guy with like any, I wouldn't like give him money. Like I'm not, but him and Alex started to become friends a little bit. And then I think Alex like staked him for some games, and then he won some money, and then the guy didn't give Alex the damn money. I mean, that's like one of the most, out of line things you can really do if a guy stakes you and then, you don't pay him. So there was like and then we ain't seen him since. I've never heard from the guy since that happened. He just disappeared. And I talked to him pretty regularly for like a year, 2 years before that too.
Wow.
But I learned a very important lesson there, which is like, you might have people on your content that you don't necessarily like, you would say, hey, let's not like loan this guy money or support this guy. But what happens is that people don't necessarily understand that, and they just see that you support that person. So then they think, oh, this person's right. Like he's a trustworthy guy. So it taught me a really important lesson early on in my content career.
Yeah, you kind of accidentally lend legitimacy to someone, I guess, in that spot. They kind of think, oh, if he's with Joey, it's all good. Like Joey,
right? And I kept trying to say like, this guy's like, he like I mean, he's like a really out of line guy. He's like, I mean, he's like clearly like a, real crazy guy. So I didn't think that would be the case. I thought people would understand, but that happened. So that was an unfortunate situation. But that's the most vivid memory I have of my young Alexo 18, my Chilean mining friend. But it's an important lesson I think you have to have when you're making content, or if you're able to add legitimacy to people like that.
Yeah, and this is an interesting turn card. Wasn't expecting to see a king here. Paresh picks up 2 pair. Laszlo top set.
Were you expecting to see a 9 on the river, James? No, a 7. Okay. I mean, hey, Paresh might do something here.
Right. Here we go. He's gonna get a chance.
He's going for the check raise. Oh my gosh. What is he thinking there? What is he?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Laszlo's check makes sense, but yeah, it's hard for. I think it's hard for Presh not to bluff that one, right?
Well, I don't suspect Paresh to have. If he had a bluffing hand, I don't think he would have bluffed that particular card. If he has a full house, obviously going to bet. Is he going to call a check raise with the full house? I don't think so. Maybe. Yeah, I get the logic. I mean, it seemed like he's going for it all there. He was going for. Yeah, it seemed like he really wanted to go for a check raise, and also it does make Paresh now when Paresh and him play hands. Maybe Paresh has to worry a little bit more, knowing that Laszlo might be checking the nut full house in a situation like that.
All right, you're going to play a three-way flop, and Paresh. That's not a bad flop for King Queen 6-3. Thanks. Flopping boats,
You think
easy
so?
game.
Is that in your expert opinion?
Yeah, that's as deep as I get, Joey.
You like that when you're like, no man. My kind of player, James. That's what I like. That's what I like to hear.
That's me. Like that's usually my like 13th hour in the day kind of commentary. Oh, he's what the full house. That's a good play. Like that's, usually that's not.
Did you see that bet he made? He's a really good player. I mean, he bet the king queen. There's funny. I was playing it last night, right? And one of these one of the nittier guys, he 4-bet in a spot where he clearly has aces, and then he hit a favorable flop. He bet it. I folded. And you can throw these emotes at people, so he threw one of the emotes at me, and I go, yeah, everyone's like a fucking genius when you have aces pre-flop in a 4-bet pot. I mean, yeah, you're not a genius when the flop comes ace high, right? But these players will think that they're like the Albert Einstein of poker because they know how to flop top set with a very strong hand pre-flop sometimes, and then they'll be overestimating their that's what makes poker so beautiful, James.
Joey, it's mad skills to flop sets in 4-bet pots. I think you're underestimating how good that is. Like, I think and when you're on form, when you got it going, when you're in the groove, it's tough to beat, and you gotta appreciate how good they are.
That's very true, especially when they're telling you how good they are. Especially when they start talking a little more. It's like they run a few 4-bet pots. All of a sudden, they're like, yeah, I mean, I knew you had like the kings there. And it's like, all right, buddy, shut up, please. Let's move on. I love those guys at live poker when they get a few chips and then they start chipping up, and all of a sudden they're like Frank Sinatra performing in a Vegas hotel in 1960s. They're just walking, no way, what's that? Yeah, they're clapping glasses, giving fist bumps. It's like, man, that's what makes poker beautiful, though. It's like that; those moments can happen.
Yeah, they go through the phases in the evening. What have we got going on here? Leaderboard. All right, well there you go. That tells it all. Alex and Paresh just over 100 bigs, 14 million chips a piece. Laszlo, well, work to do. He has a third of that, but still has 35 blinds, Joe, as we play 70k, 140k. Yeah, it's funny when you say that because we've all played with those guys, haven't we? They're quiet for like 2 hours. They win a few pots in a row. Suddenly they're all chirpy, and then, well, they go back to their cave when things go wrong again.
Yep, that's why they call them chirping chips, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to be fair, that's happened to me a few times, right? You're winning a little bit, you're feeling good, you get sucked out in a few pots, all of a sudden you're on your tweeting, texting, we've all been there. It's okay.
You start getting hot, the hoodie comes off, you're like, oh, it's quite warm in here,
You're like shaking around, let me go for a while. Listen, we've all been there before. It happens. We all deal with it in our own ways.
I need this live poker back, man. I need to get in there. I need to be playing these long sessions with the same people, just getting in there, throwing the words around, winding people up. That's what I love doing, Joey. I love getting in there.
I can see that. I mean, you're a talker, obviously, so you probably have a fun time playing.
Yeah, I like
playing some live poker.
I like to say the right things at the right time. Just throw.
I just imagine they're all like you. They're all like you and Luke Shorts. They're just talking all the time.
There is a lot of talk in the games they're playing. Yeah.
Will Kassouf pops in there a little bit. It seems like the guys from your country really like talking. They're funny. They don't mind taking the piss out of you. They don't mind needling you a little bit. It just seems more accepted there. Whereas here, everyone gets really emotional when that happens.
Yeah, no, needles are the norm, man. You gotta You got to have thick skin, and you got to come out with some clever ones as well, man. There's nothing better. I love just playing those. I mean, I play in some games, obviously, where you just, the game runs 12, 13 hours, and it's the same people who start the game, the same ones who finish it. Everyone just sits down for a long session. So you've got to get plenty in during the night, or else you're gonna feel pretty bad, man. But it's great. I love just twisting it a little bit, getting people hot. Oh, I miss it, man. It's been months.
He'll be back soon, buddy. He'll be back soon. Alexo didn't 3-bet aces here. He doesn't have the best aces, but he chooses not to 3-bet this hand.
That's a pretty good river.
Now he makes it straight by the river. Let's see what he does. I think online poker, is it online poker back? Can you play it at all there?
Oh yeah, online poker, yeah.
I'm sorry, live poker, my bad. Or are the casinos there closed?
The casino's actually reopening this weekend, I think. This weekend, I think the casino's gonna reopen. But I mean, I believe that most poker rooms aren't, just because of limiting factors on how many people they can have at a table. So questions about whether that be profitable. So I think most poker rooms aren't opening yet. Obviously, okay. Joey, how it goes. A lot of private games are up and running. And that's the downside to what's happened here, poker-wise, is that a lot more games are going to be pushed into the private games rather than... We've always had such a strong casino scene here, and it's great because the rate's low, security's good, everything's just on the up and up. There's no need for private games. But I think, sadly, this is going to have a lasting effect on live poker in the UK. It already happened a little bit because there have been some law changes about proving where you get your money from, kind of thing. And so some players aren't playing casinos or don't want to go through all the hoops to show why they can lose, lots of money.
Interesting. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've been reading they're cracking down a little bit on the responsible gambling over there, and
yeah. Which I'm fully on board with. I'm like, couldn't be more on board.
No, you're not, James. James wants the degenerates. Wants them to gamble. Just.
Well, I want them to gamble if they gamble with me. I just don't want them, doing anything else. No, I'm just messing. But yeah, so it's been working against the casino games lately, and then this has happened, and now all the private games are running and the casino games aren't. So it doesn't look good. But
gotta have faith, buddy. I think it'll come back.
Yeah.
Or you got to adopt your strategy and get into the private world where they are attempting to make every dollar in the world through rake.
Yeah, well, actually, the one thing I will say is the private games around here, everyone's pretty fair with the rake. It's not out of control. It's very reasonable. So, very lucky in the games we have here. But we've got going here, Manzano and Paresh, both double suited in the same suits. Queens.
Paresh has that bottom two. What's our nickname for that? I need a nickname for bottom two pair, and it can't be a good nickname either. What's a bad nick? What's something that represents something that looks a lot better than it might be?
I don't know. I mean, I've got lots of things running through my head, but I don't think they're safe.
Take your pick. Which one you like to say here?
I'm worried I'm going to say something stupid. In the meantime, I'll just mention that Alex Manzano has turned top and bottom, which, I mean, we know that one, right, Joey? Is it? I think Tony Dunce taught me that one.
What did he tell you it was?
Missionary, like top and bottom, man.
Oh, the missionary two pair. I never thought about that. Interesting. Little homage to, you can work in some Jesus Christ references and go real. You can make it like 4-layer deep there with that nickname.
Yeah, I think it was Tony who taught me that one. I might be making that up. It might be someone else. But I feel like it was Tony. Only fitting if it's WPT that it'll be Mr. Dunce. Tony, of course, recently taking down that bracelet, man. The second bracelet for Tony Dunce. He's going to be doing some commentary here for you guys on this WPT series, of course.
Uh-oh.
These two, man. These two, they love it.
These two have definitely played together a lot, so I'm sure that they have they have a non-folding relationship, clearly. But yeah, Tony Dunst, he got final tabled one World Series event. He took down an event. Nick Binger, who's associated with Learn WPT, he took down a World Series Broker Bracelet event. So the WPT people are looking pretty strong here, man. I had the founder of WPT on my podcast. That guy looks like he's living one hell of a life down in New Mexico with his basketball in his room. So I was, it's been a great. I mean, I love how I lumped in that with the 2 bracelet winners, but let's put them in different containers. I just want to throw that out there because I thought it was real fun to have the guy on. And yeah, shout out to WPT for they're doing a good job.
Yeah, check that out, guys. Check it out. Joey, I have to say, my favorite thing I think that's happened in poker over the last few weeks was I called it on one of your things, but your boy winning a bracelet in a parking lot. I mean, like that was pretty amazing, man. Was he parked up in a
That's
Whole
something
Foods
else,
or something?
huh?
Like,
I mean, what did he generate? Ryan Apollo is obviously right. I mean, he's winning bracelets in parking lots and Whole Foods. The kid is living his best life, dude. That's like yeah, it's something else.
I mean, that's one of the wilder stories in a while, man. I caught the clip of him kind of winning it, and he's jumping out of his car, screaming like "I'm a god" or something, or "I'm the greatest." I don't know what it was at 5 a.m. and outside of Whole Foods, man. That's wow. It's some weird things you guys have to do over there to get involved.
Isn't it? I mean, that is weird, right? You got to go drive to a whole, you don't have to drive to a Whole Foods parking lot. And as a matter of fact, I don't know if you know this, but most players actually don't go to Whole Foods to play online poker. Normally they would go to some sort of building, typically, right? They'd play inside the building, but he wanted to hop on that Wi-Fi the Whole Foods offers and get that run good. So you know what? You can't fault the guy at all for that.
Dude, tell me the next week there were like 6 people parked in that parking lot playing. I mean, it's got to be a good location.
So James, I thought about flying to New Jersey just to play an event in that same parking lot. I just thought that would have been the most hilarious thing, but I didn't do it. So turns out, all for nothing. These 2 are going after it again here, buddy. Ace Jack 4-4 for Alex. He calls another 3-bet opposition, and Omaha for rolls slaps a good hand. King 10-5. Got the overpair, goes with the small bet.
Yeah, this one very
Alex
small, right?
does check call. He does have those 4s still, and he has the ace high, so he could potentially hit an ace. He can also bluff some cards too.
That probably one of them. I mean, a 9's.
Well, theoretically, you want to bluff 1, that might be it.
Yeah, I mean,
he can put some pressure on him here potentially if he decides to lead and fold him off of his non-paired hands. Check. I mean, he does have backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw too. The bet was really small on the flop, so you understand calling there.
Yeah, these guys really are going hard, aren't they? Manzano.
They're 2. Are we on a delay, James? By the way,
this is a 1 hour delay. Yeah.
Is our chat live though?
Our chat is live. Yes, chat is live.
Okay.
We're all good. We're going out fresh. We're obviously watching this happen an hour ago.
My beautiful girlfriend said, "Man, are we on a delay?" Which I'm led to believe she's in the chat. So, but I don't have the chat open right now. Shout out to the chat.
Yeah, shout out as always to the chat. As I say, see my regs in there. Good evening, all of you. I haven't name checked enough. I see Brad. I see Jim Lad, Rehab, Ivan. What else we got in here? All right, King Pidge in the house. Matt Savage with us this evening. Any 2 cards? Welcome, one and all. And of course, Supernova and Giuliano, as always, with us as we play this PLA final. Well, I kind of wasn't watching this hand, Joey, and lots of stuff happened, but in the end, it's going to be a chop, rule by a piece.
Yeah, chop pot. Nothing too much. Nothing too dicey. I mean, a couple trip 10s there, but when they have the same hand, I check out immediately because I already know what's going to happen. It's going to be a chop.
Yeah.
That's a good sign.
These 2, I don't know what's going to go on at any moment in time, Joey.
Well, you can see Alex's strategies play very wide out of the button, or sorry, very wide on the big blind, and most of these players are playing pretty wide on the button as well too. So you're going to see they feel quite comfortable and confident with these wider ranges, and that's sort of what you're going to see at PLO as equities run so close pre-flop that you can get away with playing hands like this, and especially once you have experience and you feel like you're not making a ton of mistakes, then you're going to feel confident enough to play these hands. And I think both of these guys have been playing Omaha for a long time, to the point where they feel maybe overly confident and or accurately confident in their ability. Good bet Laszlo goes with here. He goes with the big bet. I mean, you kind of praying. He has a bunch of cards you want your opponent to have. He has an ace in his hand. He's got ace 3. He's got a 5, block 5, 6. He's got hearts.
All right.
It's kind of one of those prayer bets. Praying your opponent has something. Takes it down. What do you think about these backgrounds in here, James? What do you think about these backgrounds we're looking at here with our faces?
Matt, I love the whole setup, man. The whole setup is strong. Nothing I don't like about this. Other than like you're saying, we're toying with the idea of putting some players' faces up there, Joey. You know, the idea is, oh wow, these guys again. I love it. Another 3-bet pot. Blind on blind.
Here we go.
Wow. Yeah.
Insta-pots it. He's got a 7 gutter backdoor flush draw. This is it.
Joey. These two at it again.
I don't know what's happening here.
Small favorite. Turns
Nuts straight for Alex. Needs a 9 on the river. Ooh.
Wow. Wow. Laszlo.
Wow.
Oh. In a couple of big pots to Manzano. Ends up finishing in third. But I mean, Joey, those two were just going at each other. It seemed inevitable that it'll be one of those two heads up against Paresh, who's kind of just chilled out and finds himself guaranteed 146k. Laszlo, well, he put on a bit of a show, and like you said, Joey, he was just going for it, 106k for third. But probably the way that was going, I don't know. It feels like he probably was the kind of the favorite to win, but also the favorite to bust out, I guess.
Yeah, it seemed like he had a very aggressive strategy, and certainly could have maybe made some different moves in some spots. Maybe that ace, queen, queen 8 earlier, he might take a look back at that and say, maybe I didn't need to do that. But he pushes the initiative. That's his style. That's the way he plays. It fortunately didn't work out for him right now. And we're finally heads up here. We got Alex Manzano versus Paresh Doche. Both very deep stacked here, 100 big blinds. Are we getting some cash on the table? Are we gonna? I feel like now we got to have that trophy come out right back here. Maybe the Royal Flush Girls walk it out. Matt Savage comes out like an animated figure. He's announcing that we're gonna, you know what I mean? Like maybe Mike Sexton comes over. I don't know.
I said before,
future iterations of this.
We need the animated Mike Sexton just wandering around the background. The Matt Savage, pardon me, wandering around the background, but.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe interviews like a figure, like a player or something like that. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, but
the Sherahan guys right now are scribbling notes furiously, wondering. They're like, it's not a bad idea. Maybe we put the Royal Flush Girls in here next time.
Yeah. Well, Joey, this is kind of what's about. We've got some deep Omaha. We're playing for pretty sizable stakes here. 50k difference between second and first, and of course the title of the PLO Championship champion. Of the world.
If Paresh wins this, I want to try to get this guy on my podcast, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a pretty smooth final table for him, isn't it? He hasn't really done a whole lot. Finds himself heads up against Manzano, and yeah, I would like to hear more from him. Obviously, like I say, a kind of for want of a better word, kind of like an organic growth in poker. You know, he knocked around, played those APAT events. Now here he is. Heads up, PLO Championship title in WPT.
Yeah, he really isn't. He really's just kind of been chilling here. I mean, he's seen some. He had that one big hand he had held with the bottom set with the 4s, and that was really about it from what I remember here.
Yeah.
Outside that, he's just been chilling and sitting back and watching a bunch of crazy people go after it.
Straight hip loses no more on a 3-heart board. I wonder.
So they are
Joey,
very deep stack.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see like Paresh. Okay, doesn't. I was curious to see whether we'll see maybe a change up in style. Whether we're going to see a lot more three betting from him because we haven't seen much of that yet. But he elects just to go with this one. So
Yeah, I don't think so. He doesn't seem like a very over aggressive player. Maybe he plays a lot of hands pre-flop, but he doesn't seem to be someone who's
right.
a very aggressive, putting a lot of pressure on people overall type player. He doesn't seem like his style. Him and Alex seem like they have very different styles. So Alex c-bet flop with the gut shot bottom pair, turns flush draw, weak flush draw though. Bets again. Paresh has 10 high flush draw with the 5. I would suspect he calls one more. He does.
Manzano doing it dirty. Finds the 3.
I'd probably go smaller size here for value by Alex.
It's gone 2.9.
Takes it down. And basically, you're hoping your opponent has a queen on that river. You're praying they got ace, queen, king, queen. You know, maybe they have trips themselves potentially too, but highly unlikely.
All right, Paresh, open it up. Alex going to defend queen, queen, 9, 6. And he's king 4. Gives Paresh aces up.
In the chat, Shelby said, "I like the background. Looks clean." Thank you, Shelbs. Thank you, babe. I know her. That's my that's my lovely girlfriend.
All right.
She's looking at this as like, this looks a little different than your podcast setup, buddy. So
Joey, man, like I say, you got to keep it real. I like these your stuff as it is, man. You got to.
Thank you. I imagine Alex is going to be playing every hand, so he's going to either be limping or raising on the button, and he's going to be defending or 3-betting every hand from the big blind. And it looks like he's going to be limp calling this hand right here, 9-9-5 deuce. They are deep stacks, so he feels like he has got the advantage, especially when he flops top set. Then you definitely have the advantage. And now Paresh is just in a whole world of trouble because he probably doesn't really know what he's doing out of position and heads up pots in these kind of situations. So,
right.
Don't know how much he studied this or not, but
yeah, bets gets raising, like you say. I mean, Alex, dream scenario for him, winning that raise, up in this set, and I mean, straight away, Joey has built up a sizable lead, over 2-1.
Yeah, he's going to be putting the pressure on this guy, man, and Paresh is going to have to get lucky and have to make some hands here.
Right, and that's we're not taking anything away from Paresh here, right? With it, we just know that Manzano is a bit of a beast, and he's obviously going to have far more experience playing heads up, I would imagine, certainly than Paresh. Paresh has had some good success playing tournaments, but most of the time you're going to be playing full ring.
Yeah, theoretically, right, but at the same time, don't matter, right? Anyone can win. That's the great thing about poker tournaments. Don't matter who you are.
All right. And well, this one's looking pretty good for Paresh. Trip threes, Manzano picks up diamonds to go with his 9 and queens. So it has some outs.
Maybe he's going to call at least one more here. Oh,
an action killer.
Yeah, definitely action killer. But if you're Paresh, you're happy to take it down, right? You're still happy to win. Your opponent could add a flush. So you get a little momentum back, get a little confidence back in your game. It's what you need right now.
Man, Manoloution on the Manzano train. Cheering him on. Manzano looking good right now. Just say with that, well, just below 2-1 lead now, but very good situation to be in. 140k locked up, playing for an extra 50k.
I don't know. I don't know how aggressive we're going to see him, James. Right. He's got that money locked up, and a big. What's the page up in first a second here?
50k. We're playing for another. I think it's 100, 146, 147, and then 197. Whatever. So.
Yeah, I think I'd like to see a little bit more conservative of style from him. Kind of use that experience here that he's going to have against Paresh. Maybe 3-bet a little bit tighter overall, and just kind of pick your spots and wait here, especially with the blinds are going to wait a little bit longer. I don't think he really needs to force any issues. Seemed like he was maybe forcing some issues, and maybe just had the right hands to do it with against Omaha for rolls. But with this big pay jump in this current chip lead, with the current situation as it is right now, I would expect him to kind of come out with a strategy like that.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Joey's saying, obviously, if you already have an edge, you want to create as many decisions as possible. That's it. So you play maybe small ball.
Yeah, you could, but then there's also merit to playing some bigger pots, right? And getting your opponent making maybe a little bigger mistakes, some bigger pots too. So there's kind of merit to both sides of it, and you can kind of build your strategy however you wanted. And maybe that manifests itself in a post-flop approach, but pre-flop you're still playing a lot of hands. So you can kind of build your strategy up in a number of different ways.
Yeah, another kind of flop here with not much going on. Paresh does fire it with his 9, with an 8. The lone club.
The lone blocker. That's a good card to have, that queen of clubs in your hand right there.
Yeah, that's useful down the streets, Joe. If we start betting the flop, we've got that queen of clubs in our hand, we can do some stuff.
Side cards are important in the great game if you want to play well. Do you do much studying about Omaha, James?
Joey, I'm not going to lie to you, my man. I play. I'm not a no. By that I mean, man, I play in these kind of crazy games where I'm playing 4-card, 5-card, 6-card PLO. I'm playing 500 to 1,000 big blinds deep. I'm it's just so different to kind of any online PLO game, anything you'd really study as such. I kind of spend a long time thinking about my opponents and how to play hands against them, but no, I'm not gonna sit here and
Makes
say
sense.
I know my 100 big blind PLO game is not going to be too good.
You don't necessarily have to, right? I mean, games like that, game changes. If you know your players, understand your players, you understand who's under bluffing and who's over bluffing and how they play.
Right.
You're able to make a lot of money from these guys waiting for good hands. So that's a great thing about poker is you can find the right game that you play in and understand how to be a winning player. I think there's a big difference between being a winning player and then knowing how to play a specific game. Plenty of people are theoretical experts, but they're losing poker players because they don't really know how to win money at the game. So it's a little bit different.
Yeah, this game is so different as well, isn't it? I mean, when you get, like 100 bigs is kind of one game, but yeah, when you get to 500 bigs, when you get to 1,000 bigs, it's so different. And obviously playing full ring, multi-handed pots all the time, the game just plays a lot different, man.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's basically a nut peddler's game, the game I'm playing it. Not to that extent, but all your bluffs are centered around.
That's what you should do, right? You should do that when you get deeper. You don't want to be putting in a bunch of money with third nuts. Like it's not a pretty bad strategy.
But all your bluffs are centered around repping nuts and nuts only, like nut boats, nut flushes, whatever. All your value is kind of the same thing. So a little different to this, but I find this fascinating when I'm watching maybe shallower PLO where we can really open up value ranges stuff because, well, it is fascinating. So
yeah, it's kind of interesting to see what they might work in, what ranges look that you can start to work in, and what you kind of learn, you can kind of take away. It sounds like from maybe not as a general approach, but there are definitely going to be some certain spots in your own games where you can say, all right, well, I once saw this hand classification worked in for value here. Maybe against this player, I could start working this in for value as well because they're overcalling in these single raise pots. But maybe in big pots, they're not overcalling, but in small pots, they are. So.
Yeah, a lot of theoreticals that transfer regardless of stack depth. Guys, look at that. We're paying for 50K, but we have reached yet another break. Our second break of the evening. These guys are going off for 5 minutes, as we will too. So please don't go too far. We'll come back for more. Heads up here at the WPT here on Party Poker.
Oh my God.
At Party Poker, we think poker should be fair as well as fun. Not like some of these guys letting predators get out of control. So unfair. You don't even stand a chance. It's like us getting in the ring with a boxing heavyweight. This is a David and Goliath situation. We're all Davids now. You know what that means. It's time for us to kick some Goliath butt. Yeah, you better stop it, all right? It's on. You love fair poker? Join party.
Hey everyone, it's Matt Savage and you're watching the Savage Beat of the Week. The setup hand of the week was a real cooler when Kareem Wilkins flopped a set of threes up against Marcel Souza's ace-4 for top 2. When the money went in on the flop, it didn't change. The two chip leaders go to war and Kareem Wilkins comes out on top, eliminating the 7th place finisher Marcel Souza. Our nit of the week is a tough one because it turns out to be the right fold. When the board comes king 9-5, Marcel Souza makes it $195,000. Mike Patrick with ace king, top pair, top kicker, he lays it down. That's our nit of the week. It was the right move, but I still think it's pretty nitty. The luck box hand of the week is when Michelle Zago has queen 10 up against Gabrielle Laporte's 2 queens. Now, the money went in with Michelle drawing to only 2 outs, a 10. And only a 10 is what she could have to eliminate Gabrielle Laporte. And guess what happened? It did. The luck box hand of the week goes to Michelle Zago. Our roller coaster hand of the week was a great one when Itar had the ace king up against Hans Klinsmann looking for a double up with the 2 jacks. Pocket jacks for Klinsmann, ace king for Itar. Now the flop came down, a queen, a jack, and a 10. So he flopped a set, but Itar had the straight. But on the turn came the 4th jack, and Hans Klinsmann gets a much needed double up to stay in the tournament.
At Party Poker, we put players first because we are players first. You can't love poker if you're not into poker. You gotta be into it. You see my dog right here? My dog's name is Royal. See my cat? My cat's name is Flush. Look at all of my furnishings. Get a good look at it, huh? That's how into poker we are. That's why we got you. Love poker? Join party.
$1,100 buy-in will secure your seat amongst the stars, with $100 being donated to one day sooner. We cannot wait for this super fun, star-studded event that supports such a great cause.
Life don't change until you change. We're all different but the same. We work hard and then we play. Life's a party, so enjoy yourself.
You never know when your time is going to come to rise above the rest, to seize the opportunity, to be crowned a champion.
Every once in a while, you get one of those final tables that you say, wow. Tonight is one of those.
At Party Poker, we think poker should be fair as well as fun. Not like some of these guys letting predators get out of control. So unfair. You don't even stand a chance. It's like us getting in the ring with a boxing heavyweight. This is a David and Goliath situation. We're all Davids now. You know what that means. It's time for us to kick some Goliath butt. Yeah, you better.
All right. And we are back. Alex Manzano, 147 big blinds against Paresh Doshi's 97 bigs. Myself and Joey calling it here. Heads up
Let's do
for
it.
the title. What it's all about.
Let's do it.
Well, two pretty garbage looking hands here to start things back up again with.
Just witnessed a challenge go down on Twitter that I'm getting quite excited about.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I proposed the idea of Doug Polk and Daniel Negreanu settling their beef by playing a heads-up match, and then Doug said he's in. Doug said he'll play him. He'll play a heads-up rolls for grudge match against Daniel Negreanu. I mean, listen, that's what the fans want to see. Let's give the fans what they want to see here.
Man, that is. It's like one of the.
Can you imagine that? I mean, that would be just the biggest, that'd be massive.
Man, I follow this kind of stuff from a little bit afar, but that sort of rivalry, that feud, perhaps is the better word, is something else, man. Something else.
Something else is the great way to describe it. It is something else. It's something. This raised by Paresh is something else too. With the Jack 8 Deuce Deuce, I like it. The thing about the deuces is that when you make quads, they don't see it coming. The really good thing about the deuces. So,
right. It's strong. Yeah, it's true. Manzano raising up Ace King Jack 5.
I can justify any pre-flop play, James. Give me any pre-flop play. I can make it sound like it ain't a bad play.
Yeah, I mean, like it's nice to have any hand at any time, right? It makes you unpredictable.
Yeah, you'd like to have a pair in your hand because it's more likely to end up a 4 of kind for sure. Whereas if you have like Alex's hand, it's not, Ace King Jack 5. It's a great hand. You can make a lot of trips, but I'd prefer to have a hand with pair in it personally.
Manzano with Broadway on the turn. But yeah, that'll be fun. They got that going, huh? Get the Polk Negreanu showdown. Settle it once and for all, huh?
People love that stuff, man.
They do. You're exactly that. They do love it.
They love it. I mean,
I'm like, you're like the little instigator. You love it as well. I see you in there. You're like, you don't mind stirring up a little bit.
Listen, my instigating level is a 1 out of 10. I could 100% be insane at it, but I choose not to because I've done that before in the past. I've not indirectly, not purposely. So I know how to. I just choose to stay out of it. I mean, basically, yeah, I could definitely turn up about 15 levels if I wanted to on that area of things. I talk about what's happening because that's interesting and people find interesting, and I find it interesting too because normally it involves people that I know. So.
Look at this, Joey. Paresh raises up with just the one deuce in his hand. It did come deuce. So I mean, if he had the deuce again, like
the great thing about that is that now he has he made 2 quads there. Yeah, I mean that was not that good a spot, but yeah.
He's deuce heavy.
Paresh is battling here a little bit. Here he's holding his own right now. He's raising up. He's playing a lot of hands. He's putting the aggression back on Alex as well too. I like that so far.
Yeah, Manzano checks it back.
Surprised Alex isn't just automatically c-betting this board here. I don't know if Paresh is necessarily going to be playing a trip board very well.
Right. Do you think perhaps Manzano is just the opinion that he can check back there and just maybe Paresh plays a little too honest on the turn, so maybe going for the delayed c-bet? But
yeah, it's a good point too. He could be doing that as well. Yeah. I mean, you always don't want to just start automatically over c-betting as well too. Even though I think a lot of players do over c-bet on like a 3-3 deuce board or like a 5-5 deuce board. Any of those boards with 3 low cards and one of them's paired. I think players tend to go small, very high frequency percentage of the time.
Paresh raising up.
Makes sense.
Queen 8 4 3. Alex Ben's Ace King 8 6. All right. Paresh flopping bottom 2 with a flush draw. Alex top pair. There's a little something here. A heads up game.
Something spicy happening here.
Right, there's some potential.
Got the makings of a movie.
Got a
It would
script.
need a
We
very
got a
specific
cast.
run-out.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
it's the anticlimax. The
Yeah.
deuce on the
Yeah.
turn. Get some straights. Guessing that also allow Alex to see the river, right? Checks back from Paresh.
See if Paresh value bets this hand on the river. I don't think he will, but he can think about it. But maybe it might be too thin. Hope to target a king specifically. He also might have some other two pairs. He may have 9-4, 9-3, maybe. Yeah, maybe it might be too wide. I'm an ambitious value better, James, so I'm always looking for a nice value bet situation.
Man, I like it. I like it. And I think maybe Alex probably doesn't have those two. I don't know. I mean, Alex is going to check some hands, but he may just bet those 9-4s, 9-3s himself, right, on the river.
Exactly right. So that's exactly correct. So then you start thinking, all right, well, maybe I need to put more thought into it and say, well, can I go more of an exploitative strategy here and target that king specifically?
Yeah.
Especially if he's overleading his two pair for value on the river himself.
Right.
Which might not be the case, but maybe he would start leading his two pair to get value from the king, so it kind of flips the other way around in that situation there too.
What a beautiful game this is, hey? Everyth's possible.
I've been studying a lot more Nolan Hold'em, two-card pop Omaha with some good players, and man, that is blowing my mind. Those guys are on another level. These dudes are like some of the best players in America right now, and these guys are sick at Nolan Hold'em. So I'm learning a lot about the two-card game right now.
Yeah, it's scary, like depth.
Yeah, isn't it really? I mean, it's very scary. You're talking about a spot for 7 minutes, and you're like, Jesus Christ! I mean, you know,
like
it's like
you
me
can
and
have
PLO basically.
I mean, the discussions I've had with some of those guys when doing commentary, or just when not doing commentary, about the tiniest things, about the merit between betting one size to another, and you can, like you say, you can be talking for 10 minutes about a bet size on a specific card. It's incredible how much time they spend studying this stuff. I mean, the game's just it's moved on a lot from where it used to be, like that. The old look at them and just decide where they got it. It's kind of gone a little bit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. No doubt about that. I mean, it still exists I mean, the majority of places you play, that's going to be the dynamic, right? That's
exactly that,
still
Joe.
going to exist.
Exactly. And that's
Right.
something. I mean, you guys, your regular watchers, will know. I always say, we watch the high rollers, we watch stuff, we do it, we appreciate it, we try and understand why, and then we don't do it in our games, do we? We don't do this stuff in our games because our games are going to play a lot different. But it's good to understand. Look at this turn card for Manzano.
The hidden set, we call this the hidden set. That backdoor quad draw might be popping in the building right here. And it's going to be hidden. Like I said, it's a hidden set. When you start making the beginnings of a backdoor quad draw, it's hidden.
I'll take a brick right now. That is
action killer.
I mean, yeah, Manzano makes the bad flush. Fresh makes Broadway, but I like the hand too much.
I was hoping for a jack personally, but it's just me.
Just wants the blood.
I think Alex value bets this. Let's see what size he goes with. No, he checks. Oh,
I mean, we've seen Paresh already a couple of times, haven't we? Check flushes in these kind of spots earlier in the final. You mentioned it makes you kind of harder to play against in those spots. So maybe that's it paying off there.
It could be.
Yeah. All right, 3-bet pot. Wow, Paresh sticking around here with the King 9, 6-3. Does of course have the button. They're playing heads up, and yikes! Wow, here we go, Joey.
Oh no. No, wow. 2 backdoor flush draws, overpair. Paresh has that King 9, 6-3. Like I said, he's gonna have to get lucky some of these pots. He flops that trips. He just calls. Oh boy.
Clubs as well.
I mean, when Paresh calls you, he's saying he has an overpair of an 8, a 3. And so you're not like loving this right now. So I can understand Alex going for a check here. Paresh getting real sneaky with it. Checks back.
Wow. And this is going to work out, right?
I imagine Alex will value bet here small. And then Paresh will, small. And then Paresh will raise small. I don't see why you would I mean, maybe he will pot, just hoping he's got a kings or aces. No, it's a little smaller. 3x. And now, Alex, you're just like, what the hell is happening here? What is this guy doing? What is he saying he has?
Right, such a
Could he have
bizarre
3,
line,
4?
isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, you're also I would fold here in Alex's spot. You might level yourself and say, well, maybe he's turning an 8 into a bluff. He isn't really. Like, these guys aren't turning 8s into bluffs here. They're just folding. So,
right. This is something we had. Who we have here on? Patrick Leonard was on here during the High Roller Club, and we were discussing this kind of in days gone by, Joey. Like 10 years ago, if a line didn't make sense, it was a bluff. These days, when a line doesn't really make sense, they've just got it because everyone knows the line doesn't make sense. It's a bluff, right? But it's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Alex folds. I mean, yeah, not that hand. That hand's pretty standard. I think Paresh needs to bet that turn with his 3. Try to get value, at least get a straight there of value. I mean, he could get called by a queen. Just kind of understanding what Alex is going to do with his range there would be an important thing, because you're going to understand he's going to be checking his overpairs there and his queens there too, because Paresh's range looks fairly strong there to 3s. Like I said, 3s, 8x's, 10s, jacks, kings, aces type hand. Not aces, kings, probably 4 bets aces pre-flop. Alex has kings, takes away that combination. So queen 8, those sort of things like that, tends to be what his hand's going to be. But I think it's going to be a 3, decent frequency there.
Yeah, guys, just a quick pause here. I've been told they we're at least discussing a deal. I don't know what's happened. Obviously,
are we discussing a deal right now?
But it was only a very short break. It's only, I think, less than a minute for them to do this. So we'll be back underway in a moment. And I do gather that, obviously, for those of you who watched last week, a little disappointment. They got 3-handed. They did a deal. The tournament ended. I do gather, though, that situation has been resolved. So any deal
this better not happen.
No, any deal is supposed to leave 10K on the table now for them to play out. So we will have champions for the rest of the series. We won't have that unfortunate situation we had last week, where the tournament, Joey, just ended 3-handed. And I can tell you, Dan Shack was in the mix in that one, and he was pretty disappointed in himself. Obviously, he wanted to play out for the title. And
I remember that I did commentary for when my man Scarmaker, I think he went deep in the Party Poker Million event, and we were like super emotionally invested in this tournament. They made a deal and the damn thing just ended. I was like, this is the biggest bunch of BS I've ever seen, because we were like all hyped up and it just ended. I go, wait, what happened? Like, where did it go? I don't think tournaments can end that way personally, but
no, I tell you, it was amazing. We did the High Roller Club over the last couple of months, and we did around 15 events, I think it was, Joey. And obviously, it was the same situation. If a deal happened, then the tournament was over. It happened one time out of 15 events, which was pretty cool. Like, but those High Roller guys, man, they just butt heads. So they don't do deals with each other. They like, let's play.
This guy sucks. I'm not dealing with him. I'm so much better than him. I'm 30 big blind per 100 against this guy. I'm playing him. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was one deal we had there was like, I think it was Ike and Timothy Adams or something like that. It was they were Timothy Adams involved with someone else. I can't remember who, but yeah, pretty much everyone else though just played out the events. Obviously, you're always more likely, Joey, aren't you, to get deals in main events, larger field sizes, obviously much higher rewards compared to the buy-in. So, but nice now that it seems like
makes sense.
They've done the deal. Here we go. Like there you go. They did that deal at the time. They had basically the same chips, right? So Doshi gets 167, Alex 166, and they are playing out for 10K. So they did do that deal.
So they each get the same amount essentially, and then they're playing for 10K. I am really, really surprised by that.
Yeah, I am as well, actually, Joey. I'm with you. Yeah.
I got to check the Chilean mining stocks or something. I mean, maybe.
Man, I don't know, mate. Man's on him. Maybe just has the feel, but
maybe he's scared. Maybe he's scared of this guy, Paresh. I don't know.
Right? Like, who knows?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like we saw that hand. Obviously, Paresh had it. Maybe Alex is like, wow, man, this guy's just caging me. He's like raised river in this weird spot, and I folded kings. I don't know. Like, maybe he's really good. Maybe I've got this wrong. Like, maybe he's a crusher. Like, no, I'm not saying Paresh isn't good, of course. I'm saying obviously Manzano has a lot more experience.
Seriously, I mean, that could be it, right? He got raised. Like, maybe.
Right.
Maybe this guy's better than I thought he is.
Right. The demons come in your head. I don't know.
That's a real interesting observation.
I mean, I've been there before, man. You get some dark places sometimes in your own head. Like a nice
Sounds like
payday,
you've been
anyways.
there. You've been there.
But yeah, I don't know, man.
Especially when you're 1,000 big blinds deep. I mean, some real dark
Yeah,
places.
you do take yourself some places when you're 1,000 bigs deep, man. You convince
You
yourself
make a
of some
bad you make a
stuff.
bad call 600 big blinds deep, James, in one of your games. You're going to be there for the next 10 hours looking at this guy talking and bumping fists and needling you. So
And no, the worst one on that is when you go in the tank and the whole table's silent watching, and the person calls, and then you eventually call, and like everyone at the table goes, "King's four." He's got King's fours, and he's obviously got King's four, and you're like, "Yeah, I know. He's obviously got, like, just leave me alone, man." Oh, God, dark spots. All right, this hand's a little bit of spice. Pressure with a flush. Alex Rivers top boat,
and he'll bet and get called.
80% pop bet.
Unless Paresh just goes straight God mode here and lays this jack eye flush down. I don't see it happening.
That's not happening.
Yeah, he calls. I imagine when you make a deal here, when you lose these pots, it doesn't quite hurt as much because you're only quote unquote playing for 10K, but you already took down. Will they deal for 160?
Yeah, they took 167 each, and you're playing for 10K more, right? So yeah,
that is not bad at all, huh? Especially for a 3K buy-in, that's pretty sweet.
It's amazing. It is amazing. Good stuff. Big PLO events.
I love all these tournaments.
They don't happen all that often. Like, certainly not with this structure, Joey. Like the 20-minute levels, going to 30-minute levels on the final table, all the levels in there. This one's played so deep throughout. And Alex this time flopping the flush.
Who's your pick to win here, buddy? What do you got?
I mean, Manzano just seems to me. I'm not just saying this now because he's got the lead and he's picking up another bluff here, but he kind of
really
seems to have it in control. Obviously, Paresh is. I'm not ruling Paresh out, but man, Manzano obviously more experience and has a big lead. It's hard to look past him.
I cannot believe that he made a deal. I really can't.
Yeah.
I mean, what's the difference? 190, is that what it is? 197 initially?
They were playing for, I think, exactly 50K, or near enough 50K.
I mean, I'm not a deal professional though, so I'm not saying that from a very educated standpoint on pros and cons of taking deals and when you would take a deal. So I wouldn't put too much stock in that perception of the moment either from my perspective.
Yeah, I always say I'm keen on deals.
You see these a lot, so you're gonna know. I mean, you've been doing this for a long time, so you know a lot more about the mentality of making a deal or what sort of logic goes into why or why not.
I think it's probably I think live it's you're so much more emotionally involved. I think live, that makes sense, and I think you might see more deals in those spots. I'm with you. I'm kind of surprised to see one tonight in this.
James, why is your Twitter nickname Foie Gras Addict? I'm assuming that you're addicted to foie gras, but is it something else?
It's just an old Twitter handle, man. I made that up. I made that like obviously a long time ago, and I changed it, and then I changed it back because, well, let's face it, foie gras is not exactly the kindest food in the world, and we obviously shouldn't be eating it. But that was a different time, man. But I kept the Twitter handle because I kind of like it. But yeah, don't really eat it because it's not.
When I was younger, I was addicted to foie gras, and I just downed it every day. And now that I'm a little older and more mature, I don't necessarily enjoy it, but I enjoy the nostalgic feeling of seeing that same screen name. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that for the foreseeable future. I like that.
Yeah, I think I changed it to something terrible. I think I changed it to like raise the pot or bet the pot or something like that. And I was like, what am I doing? Have a word with yourself. Come on. Like, you gotta. It was embarrassing. Yeah, I couldn't take it, man. The vegans are on my case too hard when it's Frog Addict. But
oh, were they? Was Negreanu tweeting? Was he chirping at you a little bit?
No, I tell you, he used to do it. Jay Farber used to tweet me all the time, and he used to tag Peter into the tweets as well, try and get them on me.
What?
Yeah. Jay obviously just messing around, man. But
yeah, got the Jay.
Man, this is what I mean. Like, we've missed the World Series this year. I'm missing some people like Jay, man. I see him once a year, and then there's no World Series. I'm missing out on seeing all these guys.
tragic, isn't it? Sucks. I mean, I'm here in Vegas, it ain't the same. I still got to meet a few people out this year because I always get a lot of people who come to town and they want to hang out and stuff. So I tried to get out and meet people and see people and stuff. But man, it's so cool during the summertime when everybody's here. And I mean, I see Alex most summers. He's always playing PLO out here, and so it kind of sucks. I see Mike Leah literally every year, multiple times, playing some tournament deep in something. Right, he's always going deep and everything like that.
Usually running from table to table. Yeah.
Yeah, man. He's always in the freaking mix basically every single summer.
Yeah, it's such a shame, man. Missing, but maybe 1 year off, man. Joey, one year off. I was saying I haven't missed it since the first time I spent a summer in England since 2009. So maybe it's a good thing,
It's so weird because like right now, you're like kind of recovering mentally from World Series of Poker typically, and you're kind of like, I never want to go back again, right? And then as the time goes on, you get more and more excited about it. But for you, it's weird probably being at home. I mean, that's real strange, right? You haven't been home this summer in a long time.
No, like it's been wild being here. Obviously, it's like I always say I miss out in the summer, and like where I live, it's like great in the summer. But at the same time, I hadn't really been a lot going on because a lot of other stuff you can't do, right? So the town I live in is kind of like a holiday town. Like you can't really. Only recently have we been able to start going out for. It was 4th of July. On the 4th of July, Joey, we got our independence back over here as well. The pubs reopened. It was all good, but still not the same, It will be again soon, though, man. It will be again soon. We'll be back there, back in the Vegas heat before long, I'm sure.
And then you'll be like, "This is too hot. This is 118 today. That seems excessive."
I know, man. I love it. Just get me out there. Get me on the golf course with Matt Savage. I'm a happy boy. Get me
I like Matt Savage's little his cut takes. I like that. What do you have? Like the bad beat of the week, the crazy play of the week. I like those things.
Yeah.
WPT puts these guys to work, man. They're making them shoot. They got Lynn shooting a bunch of stuff. Alex is making stuff. Tony Dunce is making stuff. They put these guys to work, man. They're not like, hey, sit there and do nothing. They're like, boom, boom, boom. I like it. It's nice.
Yeah, and they've done. I mean, we had the WPT Online series already at the start of the summer. We've got this one now. I mean, that's the one nice thing, Joey. Obviously, poker, like, it's able to continue for all this, isn't it? We haven't as players, we haven't lacked for want of action. Online, there's been so many series across the other sites as well, and then everyone can kind of still get by with their poker. We're not completely frozen out. It's good.
Yeah, so much action out there. Yeah.
All right, Paresh. These two hands can clash. Got some shared cards, and well, they are going to clash because Alex flopping 5, 6, 7. Right.
Got that overwrap right there. Probably check raise his hand, but could check call too. We can kind of see he's going a little more conservative here. I think normally it is check. If you don't have a pair, you want to check call this one. But if you have an 8, then you would start check raising this hand because then you can make 2 pairs against other 2 pairs. So,
fresh. Yeah, 5s again.
Wow, I mean that's real surprising. Okay, it really is. It
was only like half pot as well, right? The 1 million bet. Obviously, had no spades, but that was a little surprising. Yeah.
You never be too careful.
Yeah, I'm just.
Wow, look at that.
Oh, that's a good flop for Paresh. Flops the joint. Alex, well, thing, but nothing else. Hey man, Joey, I don't know if you saw, but my boy Roberto Romanello, he loves this game as well. He plays a lot of Omaha. Took down his Triple Crown the other day, winning his bracelet.
Yeah, I saw that. I think Rachel messaged me from Party Poker and told me about that too. Told me about that story. That's a pretty awesome story. He's been around for a long time. I don't know too much about him, but I know he's been around for a long time and plays mainly PLO, the great game.
Yeah, he's been a UK guy, around for a very long time. He used to play a lot of PLO cash games around the UK. Those were always the cash games, Joe. That was the main game here for a long time. Only after sort of long way through the poker boom did Hold'em really take off here. It was always PLO games, but Roberto obviously won a WPT. I think back in like 2011, 2012, won an EPT around the same time. Way back when. And let me tell you, this guy, for him, he loves playing the game. But the money's secondary. me tell you, Joey, the guy just likes to compete, and he's been, some people would chase the Triple Crown, some don't. Man, he's been chasing it. He wanted it badly, and it's just so great to see it happen. And Joey, I mean, if you don't know Roberto, like, he is one of the nicest guys in poker. There are very few people you can find in the world who will say anything bad about Roberto. A heart of gold would be the best way to describe him. Super generous guy, super friendly, always has time for everyone, and it's just nice to see that someone like that gets it. And that's been like I said, that's been a goal of his for a number of years now, to win that bracelet. So congratulations again, Roberto.
Dude, that's really fucking cool. I mean, I got a lot of respect and appreciation for people like that in the poker world, because we need people like that. I mean, I'm kind of the same way in a lot of ways, so I can understand that, and I appreciate that too. I think that's awesome. I'll do a little more, get to know him, get to know a little bit more about him. I think a lot of guys that I meet from tournament world, I don't know much about them, because I mainly followed online cash game world for a long time.
Yeah.
And I started getting into more business, tournament, no hold'em players once I started doing my content. But there's still like a lot of players out there I can find their stories and stuff like that. So, but it's tough right now if you're not making content. You don't necessarily get your face out there for people to see you.
Yeah, and like Roberto, man, he kind of jumped to a little bit of fame in the US. I mean, many years ago, he was on like a WSOP main event, like featured table day one. And he makes some like really big fold. I think he had jacks full, like he blocked a set. Jacks ends up folding, like a good fold, shows the fold. Mike Mattisau's on the table as well, and he starts going crazy. And ESPN, they get hold of it. They make this huge thing. Like Mike Mattisau's like, how, like, who is this guy? How can we beat this guy if we can fold this hand? This kind of thing. It was wild.
I remember this clip, yeah. And the name sounds familiar too, right? And I know I've heard it before, and it just like sounds like Lon McCarron's saying the name in my ear when I hear it. I'm like, is he an actor? It sounds like an actor name, right? Kind of like the Ray Román or Roberto Romanelli. It sounds like an actor.
Yeah, it's a beautiful name.
Goes off the tongue like that, like an Italian mobster in a he'd be in like Goodfellas or something like that.
Yeah, he's a Welsh Italian guy, some mix. So he's
oh, he's Italian. Okay, it makes sense. Okay, makes sense.
He's Welsh, but obviously Italian origin. Speaks Italian. But just fantastic guy, Roberto. So happy he's the ninth person to do it, Joey. He got there. He got in the first 10. It's something, man. Tough thing to do. That
something to be proud of, man. It's something you work hard for, and as accomplishments you get to keep for the rest of your poker life, man. It's something to be real happy about and appreciate.
Yeah, I think it's just nice that it's just, I don't know, like all the other guys who won Triple Crowns, like obviously people like Jake, who's obviously a good friend of mine. Like it kind of happened to him so quickly, he didn't really think about it. But yeah, Roberto's been striving for it. So
you friends with Jake Cody?
Yeah, I mean, like, just happened to him so fast, man. He just, turn up. First WPT you play, first EPT you play, first World Series you play, you just win all of them. Like, it's easy game,
You go out with Jake Cody? You guys go out?
Yeah.
I was going to say he's one of the most craziest guys I've ever been out with.
Yeah, Jakey goes hard, man. Jakey goes hard. It was
That's a crazy guy right there, man. Shout out to my man Jake. That's a crazy guy right there. Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's I didn't know you're hanging out. Like now I know. Now I'm knowing a little more about you right here. I'm learning more about you right now. 1,000 big blind deep poker and hanging out with Jake. Paresh has had enough. This is the first 3-bet technically, but he is not going to fold the 3-bets. I like it, and he flops open and straight draw and backdoor quad draw. This board's going to be a little better for his range. He can stab here half pot if he'd like to, but he checks back.
It's a pretty ugly looking card.
Yeah, Alex might actually bet here. Yeah, I mean that's kind of why you might want to stab this on the flop here. Also, you can stab on the flop, and if he happens to have aces somehow, you can really cooler aces if you hit a ace in the turn.
Yeah, Jake's a wild one, man. Jake's a wild one.
I like.
There've been some scenes over the years.
I can see it. I can see it. Who else are you friends with, Poker World? What other guys you hang out with a lot?
Well, like all the UK guys, obviously, it's pretty close knit. Like UK boys, and then
like Chris. Are you friends with Chris too?
Yeah, I mean, I used to live with Chris. Chris used to bat me back in the day. Used to live with him.
25 million tournaments ago, he used to back you, and now he's on his 25th million tournament.
Yeah, man, those were some wild days, man. When Yeah, he moved in with me for he lived with me for about 6 months, a year, something like that. And I remember we used to we used to sit there with desks on opposite side of the living room, just like just grinding non-stop. But I mean, I was like the laziest grinder in the world, Joey. Let me tell you, he'd be like cracking the whip. Come on, we're gonna play tonight. I'd be like, no, let's go out, you know. But then he taught me what grinding really was. I used to like fire up the computer, play like, you know, click reg on like 6, 7 tournaments, play them. When I bust them, I'm done. He'd be like clicking reg at 6 p.m., still regging at 2 a.m. I was like, wow, okay, this is a little different.
Yeah.
And, yeah,
Different kind of grinder, that guy, Chris Mormon. I'll tell you that, right?
Yeah, he got me playing a little bit more. Man, one of the goats.
Well, interesting spot here. King high flush for Alex. Paresh gonna check this back. He flopped a nut straight. Obviously now he's got the 2 pairs, so he's gonna try to make a full house. 4 get to showdown. Doesn't work. He might fold on the river here if he faces a bet.
1.8.
Might. People don't like folding straights typically, especially when people can be bluffing, but I think a lot of Alex's bluffs here have 2 pairs, so he might not bluff them on the river. So
Right. There's a few hands that need to bluff, right?
yeah, more like, yeah, exactly. So he does fold, and Alex here, 130 big blinds, back up in the lead here.
Yeah, pretty substantial once again. I think we'll have a look at these payouts. And I guess there we go. This is showing us since that deal, Joey. He's Alex taking 166, Paresh taking 167, but obviously the winner's still to be decided. And it's nice, Joey. I think anytime there's a deal done, like the winner is going to take the most money home as well. Because I always think there's something not quite right in my mind when the champion doesn't get the most money. Because ultimately, this game's about money.
Yeah, I agree. Right? It doesn't make much sense.
Right?
The winner, the winner isn't gonna. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me.
Like, you know, I don't know. I worked the Triton charity event in London last year, the £1 million buy-in, and you know, it's kind of like Zhang won the event, he got the title and everything, but you know, Bryn got the $20 million. You know, like who's the winner? You know,
who is the winner? I don't even know.
I mean, like, it's the guy who gets 20 million, I think, but. I don't know. It's nice to see that the winner here will get the most money. That's how it should be.
This is a battle. The boys are getting after it here.
Yeah, I like it as well because I think Temptation maybe, Joey, they did a deal. They're playing. It's still 10K, you know. It's money on the line. But the temptation is that suddenly they just start playing like willfully, recklessly, aggressively. But that hasn't happened, and I like it. We're seeing a proper game still.
Yeah, I'm surprised Paresh didn't raise this versus a limp. Ace Queen 9-9, beautiful hand.
And Zano with that set of deuces. Deuces are hot. Like, got to play them more. That's what I'm taking away from tonight's stream.
That would be the #1 thing to not take away from the stream is do not play hands with deuces in them. Okay.
But they're hot, man. They're hitting today.
Deuces are very bad cards to have in your hand in the great game. You want to avoid the hands with the deuces in them. And James's #1 takeaway is, you know what? I like these deuces. These are my hand.
Joey, you must know by now that each day has a hot card, and clearly today deuces are hot. Like maybe
each day has a hot card. I didn't know that.
Every day has a hot card, man. You got to know that. You got to see early in the session what cards flopping a lot, and then you got to go with that.
Maybe we need a Mike Sexton or like a Matt Savage like hot card of the week or something like that too, where he's like, oh, this was the hot card this week, and he's like, I don't know, it could be an idea, right? They seem like they got enough segments, but
Joey, I'll tell you a story on that. We do have this joke, you know, we had the hot card of the day, and Matt was playing the World Series of Poker main event a couple of years ago, and he's in our group, and we saw a text saying, oh, the hot card of the day is like the sixes are hot, man. The sixes are hot. You got to watch out for them. Anyway, Matt. No word of a lie. But bear in mind, we're playing Hold'em, World Series main event. Matt has 10s on a 10-6-6 flop, and the other guy's got 6s. Man, like when we were like, we warned you, man. We warned you. The 6s were hot. Yeah, poor Savage.
He didn't listen, huh?
Didn't listen. You got to look at it.
The hot card of the week, huh? Interesting. Maybe there's some crazy things I can do with that phrase.
Look out each day, man. There's something going on. Speaking
Maybe I want to start using that. I want to start using that in the live game. I can't talk at the live poker table now because we're masked up. But Let's see here. Check raise from Alex, top pair, open and a straight draw, king high flush draw. Paresh doesn't have that. I mean, he's got the overpair, but yeah, I mean, maybe you check that back sometimes too, but bet folding's fine as well.
Yeah.
Paresh is hanging in there. Alex hasn't really been making any big mistakes that I've seen. I've seen Paresh maybe make a few bets that are a little bit out of line, but nothing severely out of line. So
No, I think we saw obviously Precious stuck around a couple of 3-bet pots. But yeah, both these guys, like you say, playing pretty good. Fresh calls here with 2 queens.
playing
All right.
solid, James. They're playing solid.
I like this. Precious call with the 2 queens. Maybe we're going to do something.
Yeah, not the best blockers. I mean, you're normally against pre-flop raiser, you got the queens here. You're scared of the aces, kings, ace, king. You know, you're scared of a lot of hands. So these blockers tend to be different. Usually, but not always. Like once you have a dynamic with someone, then you can start working these kind of hands in. You can go a little because you want to have some bluffs in these type of boards. So, and Paresh is going to do it though. He is going to. I'm assuming he's bluffing here, but
yeah,
it's not going to work out.
I was hoping, Joey. I wanted to see like a little check raise on the turn or something. Paresh didn't get the chance to do it. I was looking for.
I mean, basically, he's trying to fold out an ace, one pair ace there with that bet. I don't know if it necessarily needs to bet there, but. I don't think he's folding out any 2 pairs, and he's targeting specifically 1 pair of aces. So I don't know about the bet in the river.
Yeah, I'm with you. Alex, Jack 10-9. Raise it up. Fresh ace king 8 deuce double. And a bit of a nothing flop here for these two. Playing into a nice little battle there, but Alex certainly having the upper hand gets back over that 2-1 chip advantage that he did have before, Joey. Obviously, they got level at one point, did a deal. Fresh did the deal at just the right time as well, Joey. You got to factor that in, you know, man. He got exactly even.
What a great deal by him, though.
Then you do the deal, right? Like you just win a couple of pots.
Those are pretty pricey pots. I mean, he probably might have made an extra, 20, 30K or something, just winning a few pots and then making the deal when he did.
Right.
Aces, ace 4-4. For Paresh, no one's bored. It seems like Paresh is using this half pot strategy as a default with a lot of his hands. But yeah, I think Paresh is going with this structure. He's going to need to get pretty lucky here and a few pots to take this one down from what I'm seeing so far. And of course, that's very possible if you get a big cooler spot and you get a bunch of money in with top set versus a wrap, right? Like that can easily happen here. But if we keep seeing a lot of small ball pots from what I've seen so far, I just think Alex is making a little bit better decisions so far. But with that said, anything's possible.
Second time.
Yeah. The half pot value bet on the river, also a little kind of a block bet too in some ways, but yeah, they do a lot of this blocking bet strategy in Nolan Hold'em. They create some very interesting ranges with river block bet sizing. It's very fascinating to me.
Yeah, again, I just want to go back to the old days when people used to block bet and you just raise them big and they'd always fold. Like no one ever block bet with a good hand.
I'm still doing that now, James. You block bet me, I'm raising you big.
Okay, all right. I found the guy. Here he is. We just got to get him in a Hold'em game. We've got to make sure every Omaha game in town is full. The wait lists are so long that he sits down and Hold'em. Then we got a chance. All right.
I'm going to start playing more Hold'em. I like that game. It's fun. You can overbet. It's great. I mean, some crazy stuff they're doing in these games.
Dude, let me tell you, if you get in a good Hold'em game, you get in a fun Hold'em game, they're great fun. The problem is they're quite hard to find. But you get a nice, lively game. Everyone's having a good fun.
All about who you know.
Exactly that, my man. Exactly that.
Now these like fun games are on apps and they're in Zoom chats and stuff like that. Yeah. But they still exist.
They do. And like I say, I don't play a lot of Hold'em, but sometimes, yeah, I've played a couple of little Hold'em games, Joey, and they're good fun with the right people. Just all about showing bluffs in that game, man. It's you playing those cash games, those private games. You just gotta show the right people the right bluffs.
Called the marketing budget. Exactly. You gotta market to them correctly. Let them know you're about that life. Let them know you can pull it off, and then you show them the good hand in the 1,000 big blind pot, and they're like, oh my god, how do you have that?
Yeah, I remember one of the last games I played before all this happened. I was like, this guy was, calling me out for being a net. And I joined the game a bit later. They'd all been playing for a few hours, and he called me out for being a net, and I was like getting angry. I was like, anyway, so like a little while later, I obviously went out my way to pull a bluff on him, and then he just slammed it back in over the top of me, and I kind of like showed the bluff, like, oh, you caught me at it, like, see, I'm not a net, and then he just showed the bluff back at me, like he like G'd me on to bluff him. I think like he knew that I had to bluff him because he was calling me out so much, man. I just fell for this stuff, and the guy just rebluffs me.
What you're describing is literally what I do to tight players. Is I try to make I call them the tight, like, because they're very tight. Like, what do you come here to fucking play a hand? Like, let's get your money in the game, right? And then that's what they do. They spaz out. They're like, oh my god, like he's attacking my ego, and they're calling me tight player. And then they always do something strange, and then you get them, boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
that's like a standard. That's like a chapter 2 playbook sort of strategy you use against fighter players.
Yeah, but Joey, the thing is, I say, if it was you doing it, maybe I think that this guy was just like a professional footballer, man. He wasn't thinking about that. He just thought he wanted to rebluff. He's just going for it, man. He's just throwing caution. Loved it.
The language great. WPT. I know this is Twitch, but I gotta get the on the line, man.
All right, we got some action here.
Top set for Paresh. Alex checks back that 9 high flush. Paresh merging here with the kings.
Sure, I guess. I mean,
wow. I mean, listen. Hey, we know what he's doing.
Yeah, that's a bit weird.
Be too careful. So that check by Paresh is definitely should be betting there, because if your opponent does, when he checks back flop, calls turn, he has a weak flush, he has some straights there, some 2 pairs. If he has a set, he's probably going to raise your bet on the river anyway. So
yeah,
it'd just be better just to value bet there yourself. I mean, obviously, right? But we've seen him get a little tricky here with the nut hands that he has, and I imagine it gets him paid off in some spots too. So he's probably had success with that.
Yeah, that was a bit of a weird one, like you say. I mean, so many hands can call there. All right. Alex raising up Jack 8, 6 deuce, Queen 10 3 deuce, 5 double suited. But not much going on this one. Yeah, you're right. Like Paresh is, maybe if we're looking at kind of mistakes maybe he's made in this game, Joey, it has been some of those river decisions when he's made the big hands, right? He's checked the river a lot with big hands out of position.
Yeah. Ideally, I mean, as a default, you just want to bet your big hands for value and kind of get paid off. And now, if you're trying to build some strategies, get in their head, and maybe you got good reason for why you want to check, but in some of these spots, right, I can tell he's a little bit in love with that. That idea of slow playing those hands in the river. And what that does is, now if you start betting in those spots and your opponents know you have a propensity to potentially slow play some big hands, then they can adjust by overcalling versus you. So oftentimes it's not necessarily a bad strategy, it's just that you're going to be imbalanced a little bit too often using the strategy, so you don't even understand that you're imbalanced, but against better players, they're going to be able to identify that in you. So that would be the one issue you might face, and maybe it doesn't manifest itself often, but it probably will against the better players, and you won't even know what's happening. So that is the challenge in balancing that strategy.
And that's the great point you've just made there. Those guys watching, it's not just maybe the potential loss value in those hands, but it's, as Joey says, it's hard for you to be value betting a lot of spots on the river if you don't bet when you've got the best of it. And so yeah, you're gonna get called.
You might say you might say I'm working as a low frequency check, and I'm not always checking my nuts, and but at the same time, maybe that's not true. Maybe you do think that's going on, but that's actually not going on. Right. So that is the That's the problem with these strategies, is that they might not matter too much, and against certain players, they might be really good strategies too. But from a theoretical sense, that would be the challenge for that. Got a little something here, maybe.
Yeah, top two. Alex overpair, 2 backdoor flush draws. Not fair, but
So queen turn, be a little tasty card.
that's a pretty good card for Alex. Deuce doesn't change the board other than giving him a flush draw to go with his.
Yeah,
top
this
two.
is exactly right. This is the card you want. Paresh is going to fold. I mean, listen, I can understand that fold. It's very tight. He doesn't have much clear outs there. A 7 and a queen, complete straights. Ace is the best card he needs. And Alex hasn't really been going with that 2-barrel pot side. They've been playing relatively passive. Right. So
yeah, that was a bit out of character for Alex. Pot size bet on the turn.
Yeah, if your opponents are, I think that was, if your opponents are folding the ace jack for you, you're probably not betting enough oftentimes. But yeah, I mean, that's a pretty tight laydown there. But can never be too careful, right? Ain't no wait for better spots. Kind of pick your spots. The blinds are here. You got a lot of play.
I'm with it in pressure seat there. Like you say, Alex hasn't been barreling multiple streets that often, and then suddenly does it on that broken board off. We check call, man. I think I like the fold. Obviously, I'm not just saying that because we could see he was crushed, but just the flow of the game. I don't think it would feel right for me in pressure shoes to be calling there with Jack.
Well, also he's kind of telling you I have a hand that he had. I mean, what he's telling you when he randomly pots there is he's like, I've got a really strong hand with probably a redraw there too. So you really don't like your hand there. You got even like the ace, right? If it hits it hard, you only got 2 clean outs there for that card. So I mean, I would be impressed that Fresh picked up on that too, right? I'm sure he identified that and said, right, that's kind of what's been happening here, and lays that down. Whereas a lot of other players would feel like they're obligated near the top of their range. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting actually. Yeah, I guess if you're folding that hand, I think the side cards are just pretty poor there to have, facing that size and that spot. Yeah, like a lot of players they just continuation bet at very high frequencies on these paired boards like this. 8-3-3 standard a lot of players use is a third pot. I don't think Paresh is check calling super wide on boards like this. I think he's probably check calling at a little bit tighter, so maybe you can oversee bet here too.
Joe, I was just catching up with the chat there, and I see someone makes a good point, man. Former poker Paul was saying, "Is Joey saying Hold'em is fun? Like, what happened to the old Joey, man? Like everyone changes through life, right? With the evolution of Joey's, he's liking a bit of Hold'em. That's what happens, guys. Everyone changes as they get older. This is it."
Well, what everyone think about it. I'm doing a lot of content, and then all the content is about Hold'em, so it kind of handcuffs me in what I can do and talk about and make. Like I basically I talk about PLO mainly, and I do some Hold'em stuff, but I'm not necessarily very knowledgeable about it. And people want to hear people that are knowledgeable and also entertaining about these kind of things. So I was like, well, why don't I just start learning Hold'em again? It can't be that hard. I see these players that play. It can't be hard to learn. No, it's like a third pot, a third pot, a third pot, a third pot. I mean, come on, it ain't that hard to understand single raise pots and then understand 0 to 10 big blind shove ranges that are going to be plus EV. So that's sort of my decision to go into it. And then I started playing, and it's actually kind of fun. I mean, it's boring in that you got to fold a lot, but it's fun in that there's a lot of action. So when you win that tournament, James.
Man, winning tournaments is a lot of fun. That's the trick. Nothing better.
Aces here for Paresh. Not going to get any action here, unfortunately. He's been going with these half pot sizes here.
Yeah, that one, not diamonds. Go with them.
These blinds are no joke, huh? These structures.
And what more could you want? 30-minute levels, all the levels. Gives these guys no excuses, really.
We really haven't seen anything pop off yet. We really haven't seen a big hand versus a big hand either, or even anything relatively close. Maybe that one hand, the 3-bet pot, when Paresh flopped the trips and Alex had the kings with the backdoor flush draw. But That's really about it. We haven't really seen much else. Look at that nice hand. 9-4-4 deuce turned into bottom set with the flush draw. It's not bad at all. Yeah, it looks like Paresh is just raising a lot of buttons with very junk hands, and strategy's been paying off for him so far a little bit. I mean, we haven't really seen too much battling in these single race pots. Right, we haven't really seen many check raises. We haven't really even seen many 3-street barrels. They've been relatively straightforward. We've seen Paresh make a few more bluffs with some marginal hands and later streets, but we haven't really seen too much from Alex in that front.
All right, guys, it looks like we are about to go for another break, I do believe. So we see here Alex Manzano and Paresh Doshi have chopped this up, but they're still playing for 10K and, of course, the title of champion of ELO Championship event here in the WPT. So, guys, we'll be back in 5 minutes for more of this heads-up battle here on Party Poker.
At Party Poker, we think poker should be fair as well as fun. Not like some of these guys letting predators get out of control. So unfair. You don't even stand a chance. It's like us getting in the ring with a boxing heavyweight. This is a David and Goliath situation. We're all Davids now. You know what that means. It's time for us to kick some Goliath butt. Yeah, you better stop it, all right? It's on. You love fair poker? Join Party.
Hey everyone, it's Matt Savage and you're watching the Savage Beat of the Week. The setup hand of the week was a real cooler when Kareem Wilkins flopped a set of threes up against Marcel Souza's ace-4 for top 2. When the money went in on the flop, it didn't change. The two chip leaders go to war and Kareem Wilkins comes out on top, eliminating the 7th place finisher, Marcel Souza. Our nit of the week is a tough one because it turns out to be the right fold. When the board comes King 9-5, Marcel Souza makes it $195,000. Mike Patrick with Ace King, top pair, top kicker, he lays it down. That's our nit of the week. It was the right move, but I still think it's pretty nitty. The luck box hand of the week is when Michelle Zago has Queen 10 up against Gabrielle Laporte's 2 queens. Now, the money went in with Michelle drawing to only 2 outs, a 10. And only a 10 is what she could have to eliminate Gabrielle Laporte. And guess what happened? It did. The luck box hand of the week goes to Michelle Zago. Our roller coaster hand of the week was a great one when Itar had the Ace King up against Hans Klinsmann looking for a double up with the 2 jacks. Pocket jacks for Klinsmann, Ace King for Itar. Now the flop came down a queen, a jack, and a 10. So he flopped a set, but Itar had the straight. But on the turn came the 4th jack, and Hans Klinsmann gets a much needed double up to stay in the tournament.
At Party Poker, we put players first because we are players first. You can't love poker if you're not into poker. You gotta be into it. You see my dog right here? My dog's name is Royal. See my cat? My cat's name is Flush. Look at all of my furnishings. Get a good look at it, huh? That's how into poker we are. That's why we got you. Love poker? Join Party.
Starting this July 29th, some of the most recognizable faces in poker and beyond will have a $500 bounty on their head in our $500,000 guaranteed WPT Shooting Stars charity event. Party Poker is pledging all registration fees to the charity One Day Sooner, whose mission is to advocate on behalf of volunteers for the COVID-19 human control trials, with the ultimate goal of the development of a vaccine. Some of the shooting stars include Party Poker ambassador Sam Trickett and poker pro Igor Kurganov, who has pledged to donate any possible winnings to One Day Sooner. A $1 $1,100 buy-in will secure your seat amongst the stars, with $100 being donated to one day sooner. We cannot wait for this super fun, star-studded event that supports such a great cause.
Life don't change until you change. We're all different but the same. We work hard and then we play. Life's a party, yeah. So enjoy yourself.
You never know when your time is going to come to rise above the rest, to seize the opportunity, to be crowned a champion.
Every once in a while, you get one of those final tables that you say, wow. Tonight is one of those.
All right, guys, welcome back to this, the heads up portion of our Omaha Championship final table. With me again, of course, is my man Joey Ingram.
Bow, 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 bow.
Back with us, fresh.
Back in the mix after that break.
Yeah, I was watching those, Joey. You mentioned before the savage beats or whatever it is, the savage hands, man. He loves it. He loves all that stuff. Huh? We're gonna have to get him some good hands over this series of events. And man, I was also watching that Shooting Stars for Charity commercial, guys. That event is tomorrow evening, 2-day event. I'm going to cover both days right here on Twitch. Please do tune in tomorrow evening to watch that. Day one. It's going to be fun. Some top poker players and some not top poker players, some recreational poker players, Joe. That always makes poker interesting when we've got a mix of skills on the table. You see some stuff.
That's true.
I'm seeing some stuff fresh with a set of aces. Alex with Jackson tens.
Yeah, Paresh did in 3-bet here with the ace ace 8-4 pre-flop, so it doesn't look like he's 3-betting much in general pre-flop. He's going with the more passive approach here. He bets $1 million for value, half pot on the river. Half pot seems to be his bet size. Alex might call here with this 2-pair. But he does fold, lays it down. Maybe he doesn't think Paresh is bluffing enough there, which I don't think he is either, so it makes sense.
Right.
Although maybe we did see him. I mean, yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can see it.
Jack 10. Lovely looking hand. Pops it up, takes it down. It's turning into a nice little saga between these two. Alex Manzano and Paresh Doshi battling out for this title.
Paresh is working his way back. I like it. Yeah, he's working it back, James. He's working it back.
They did this deal, but they both clearly want the title a lot because they're not rushing into these hands.
These spotlights in the back, they just keep working, huh? How do you know you do that?
I like the smoke effect, you know, the dry ice effect. It just looks so good, man. This table just looks like we're there. It looks like a real tournament.
Need some chips in the middle.
Yeah, maybe that's it. Maybe Joey, that's it. Maybe that's the takeaway from that. Maybe we get some chips flying around in the middle there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cards look nice right there. I like that. Quite beautiful graphic work.
Alex checking back his here. Yeah, checking back the aces on that. And what a turn that is for Paresh, Joey. Look at this.
Yeah, Alex will call one straight here and have to fold a lot of rivers facing a bet.
Or maybe Paresh doesn't bluff this spot there, right? He's got a king. I mean, he beats.
That's exactly why. That's exactly why you have to fold. Yeah. Check. Exactly. If Paresh did bluff this card right here, then he would start thinking, okay, maybe I work this in as a call, but he really isn't bluffing these spots. So that's why it makes it more of a fold when he does bet the river on a lot of those board completing cards.
Yeah.
Nada. What program do you even design this in? I mean, this is like.
But Joe, you're leaving with us a lot of ideas, aren't you? You're leaving that we're going to see the next podcast or the next YouTube video is going to look a little different from Joey, man. He's going to have all sorts of
James,
snazzy
I'm telling
graphics
you
in
right now,
there.
James, it doesn't exist now, but in 1 to 3 years from now, I'll have some of the best production in the entire poker world. So I'm very excited about that. It's going to be fire, and I can't wait. One day it's coming. I'm telling you right now. One day.
I believe it, man. I believe it.
One day. I got to learn the financial. I'm learning the financial system and world governments and world power structures and hierarchies right now. So then I can learn to navigate that. And
all right. So in about
it becomes
40 years,
you'll
be back with us. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah, it becomes a lot easier to afford that great production and great team around you to be able to do those kind of things and afford the best people. So that's the idea.
That's a nice spot there for Manzano off the bottom. Gut shot. Wins the pot. Oh, she raising it up. Okay, these two pretty similar hands. Both Ace Jack 5.
Yeah, kind of. Both kind of not good hands in some ways. I'd rather have the Ace King Jack 5, a little higher suit, and 3 higher cards. And nothing. No. This might go on for a while. We might be here for hours, buddy. I'm thinking about making a video for tomorrow or for tonight. It's gonna be, like how Doug Polk broke down poker hands on his poker hands videos.
And I used to love those things.
Break down Doug Polk's video that he made the other day.
Wow, breaking down content. I like it. And yeah, those hands Doug used to do are brilliant.
I know, they're so good. And that's why I'm going to start my new series called Poker Videos, where I break down poker videos. Simple.
All right.
People they love it. They love that kind of stuff. It's so hilarious. Like, I mean, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's just funny. People love it. They laugh about it. So it's good.
Yeah, I watched the one you put out earlier. Well, I suppose last night for you, but earlier for me. Yeah.
They love videos like that. I mean, it's absurd. It's absurd how much. It's got 60,000 views right now. They love it.
Really? The one you put out last night?
Yeah.
Yikes.
It's just insane.
And you've got the you got the catalyst there. You got some Doug action. You got DNX action. They get views, man. You got to give the people what they want.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, well, I don't really necessarily this isn't like my best. This isn't my favorite ideas out of content. Like, I'd rather talk about, more mindset kind of stuff, like these sorts of things. But people really love to hear about this stuff. So I feel like I can give a pretty smart opinion on a lot of these different things that are happening. So I tend to know a lot about a lot of things, and said, okay, right, make a funny edit, put things together, ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum ba bum, and then that's it. I love it.
Fresh King Queen 10-9. It's pretty good. Raised into.
Oh my God! I just got a message from a Pot Limit Omaha legend, Benny Vidi. You remember him?
Ah, Benny Vidi is in the house.
The legend, bro, Benny Vidi.
Wow, what an up and down battle that was. Speaking of heads up Omaha battles, that was something else.
Shout out to Benny Vidi, man. Where's he at? He said he started a Twitter account or something like that.
That was something else, that match.
Yeah, wasn't it really? The Galfond Challenge is coming back in August or September.
I mean, man, I kind of just, I guess a lot of people just wrote him off so early on, got so far behind. I wasn't, it kind of, it was almost kind of like over before it started as far as I was concerned. He was just down. I didn't pay much attention to it. Then suddenly, like, the most heroic comeback, man. That's so strong. Like, down that much against such a good player. Like, how can you ever come back? Man,
$900,000 down. Insane, right? How many buy-ins was that? 30, 40, 50, something like that?
Yeah, they were paying, what do you think?
100, yeah, 200, or was it? Yeah, it was 100, 200.
Yeah. Like 45 buy-ins down, man.
Jesus Christ.
It's like, yeah, fair play, man. He dug deep. I don't think anyone would have blamed him for quitting at that point, but obviously he felt like he could figure it out. But he did. Benny Vidi as well. I mean, that's gotta hurt, right? Yikes.
I mean, you never forget that. How do you ever get over that? You're up $1 million on a guy in a challenge, and you end up shitting the bed on the guy. I mean, it's like.
And the problem is, for the rest of the time, you'll be known as that guy, right? Like, it doesn't matter what else he's done before, to get to that stage, to be like one of the best in the game, you'll always be the guy who Galvin came back again, man. It's not
pretty much, yeah.
Not a good spot. It's not you gotta get back on there and make your name doing something else again. You know, you wanna.
Well, I think that's what he's trying to do, because he just said, "Can you share my first tweet? I'm going to join Twitter." So I think he maybe wants to right the situation.
Yeah, fair play, man. Yeah, it's kind of weird as well, because if you just lost narrowly without being massively up, you'd be like, oh, they obviously had a good game when it's that far up and then lose. Exactly that, as you said. People just think he shit the bed, man. He's just lost.
Wasn't that during coronavirus? Like, I can't even remember when that was. That was in April or May, right?
Yeah.
I did commentary on that final day too, and I still it's like kind of all blurs together with everything that's been happening out there.
Yeah, I'm with you. A lot of commentary come from in front of a computer. Hard to track.
How old are you?
Yeah,
James?
I mean, it's only started a long. I'm 37.
37. Okay.
37.
A lot of poker commentary in your day, huh?
I've done last 3, 4 years. I've been doing it for 3 years, I guess. I think. Quite a lot. Obviously, Party keep you busy, man. They've had a lot of tournaments, live events over the last 3 years, taken over the scene. Biggest operator. Certainly running the best events.
Did you call that Isildur hand too?
Yeah, the Isildur King 6. That was a wild one, man. That was a wild, and that battle. I talk about it with some people quite often. Man, the things that you have to take into account is they were like 5 hours into or 6 hours into this heads-up match, and there have been some serious swings. There've been so much going on. They're sitting there at 5 in the morning, having restarted that day at like 2 in the afternoon. Man, they are tired. Like as much as young DGens can be tired playing poker, but they are. That's draining, man. And like the tournament was nearly over. Isildur was down, like straight away went down to like 10-1 down in chips, clawed back, man. That match was just something else. Like, and that final hand, wow. Like, what a cool, and like Pava, what a player as well. And 2 great no limit hold'em players.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't have that context. I didn't know they were playing until 5 a.m. starting at 2 p.m. That's a really draining session. Yeah,
dude, it went all day, man. That was a long one. And then that final hand, Isildur, famed for playing so quickly. That tank on the river was if you watch the unedited one, is like 5 minutes. And Isildur doesn't tank. We all know this, man. The guy just snap acts. It's like, and he'd been acting so fast throughout the entire heads up match, and then suddenly. Yeah, it goes deep into it in that one, man. It was like set up. It was like the perfect, hero moment for Isildur.
May have been set up. You never know.
You never know, man. You can't be 100% anything.
Anything's possible out there.
Anything is possible.
Anticlimactic turn here for Alex. He turns 3 pair the Fedor holes to Dan Bilzerian. 3 pair.
3 pair.
Yeah, we have not seen many big hands versus big hands here.
No, you're right. Yeah, the boards really haven't cooperated, have they? These two both.
Yeah, maybe Alex has taken that passive style too.
Yeah, but you're right. They haven't really kind of been forced into it. We've seen a couple of potential hands, maybe. But...
Yeah, we don't see Paresh really attacking limps very often. We don't see Alex attacking limps very often. We don't really see them bluffing very often on later streets as well, too.
Yeah, I mean, blind's creeping up 100, 200 now. Shallowing out a little bit, but see Paresh still with 55 blinds. We're hardly going to call that shallow.
That's definitely.
Yeah, man, I've been lucky with these party things that we've had some great winners. We've had some great events. Those final tables, man, they attract strong fields. The party events, good structures. Let's see some stuff. Yeah.
Do you feel like you still see a lot of amateur players be able to win in these events too in Europe?
I mean, if you say like amateur as in, really bad, then no. But
Mhm.
sometimes they get deep. If you say amateur is in like some sort of more serious recreational players, then yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think the gaps, those finite gaps, like you say, it's like there's still so much luck. You can kind of overcome that as long as they're good. Like they can, of course,
Mhm.
they can be a great player. I think
Mhm.
we do see that some of those guys going deep. I think Rob's been coming around to the idea a lot lately, and he's on this kind of crusade at the moment against re-entries, against super late reg, and I think that's great because I think that does give the recreational player a little bit more of a chance, man. He sees some of these events we were doing with Party a couple of years ago. It was getting silly, man. People were like re-entering. Yeah, you're having to beat like 6 Alex Foxons just to get into the money, I think that you got a lot more of a chance now. And, man up and wow, look at this hand, Joey. Kings and nines for both, but Alex's
Here we
kicker
go.
is a set of
That's what we
threes.
talked about. I mean, that dude's drawing dead right now. Please, what's the turn going to be? Club, right? It'll probably be club. Oh no, this is it. Or Paresh, this is it. This is really unfortunate for him.
Brutal.
This is really unfortunate. He's drawing dead.
Yeah, just gonna raise this up now. Assume Paresh. I don't know. I mean,
It'd be the fold of a lifetime. Okay, all right. He's
yeah,
all in.
no, he does just put it in. I was thinking, is there any avenue to call? But no, he doesn't. Like you say, he's drawing for a chop. That's it.
That's it.
Doesn't hit it, man. Joey, we said not a lot had happened. All of a sudden,
I'm telling you, one hand is all it would take.
Wow. Your man,
That's
Joey.
We have
your
our
man.
champion.
Your man, Alex Manzano, the winner of this ELO championship. Joey, like I say, you called him early, and he's your guy. Got a little history with this man.
Well, he's an older school guy, right? You got to support the older school guys in here. I think he played well. He played aggressive. He ran well when he needed to, and coolered the hell out of Paresh right there at the end to finish this out, man. Congratulations by him. He played well, takes down the title. World Poker Tour, pop him in Omaha Championship, takes home that money, $170-some thousand for 3K buy-in. Not bad at all, James. Not bad at all.
Oh, pretty special. And credit to Paresh. Paresh kind of did his hard work last night, and he built up a big stack, came here to the final as chip leader. Didn't really get too involved before finding himself heads up, getting that chop for 167K, but falling just shy of winning that title. Guys, that is it for us, obviously, this evening. Joey, my man, thanks so much for coming on. It was a pleasure doing some commentary with you. You are Mr. Omaha in my eyes. It was an honor.
Thank you very much. But hey, it was very nice meeting you, brother. I enjoyed really getting a chance to talk to you. I never talked to you before, so I look forward to it again sometime, man.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, that is going to be it for this evening. We haven't got long here, so just remember, we'll be back next Tuesday for the 8max final table. But before then, tomorrow night, we do have the Shooting Stars for Charity event. Please do come by and check that out. It's going to be cool. We have 2 days of it. We're going to have some of the top poker players in the world raising money for charity alongside some sports stars.
Nice.
Kicking off. Yeah, I think 8:30 CET, that'll be. But yeah, guys, please do check it out. Like I say, it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to see a lot of money raised for charity. We're going to see a lot of bluffing, a lot of bravado. But yeah, that's it for this evening. Omaha Championship decided. It's Alex Manzano, the second champion of the WPT World Online Championship Series. All right, guys. Till tomorrow. Good night.
Starting this July 29th, some of the most recognizable faces in poker and beyond will have a $500 bounty on their head in our $500,000 guaranteed WPT Shooting Stars charity event. Party Poker is pledging all registration fees to the charity One Day Sooner, whose mission is to advocate on behalf of volunteers for the COVID-19 human control trials, with the ultimate goal of the development of a vaccine. Some of the shooting stars include Party Poker ambassador Sam Trickett and poker pro Igor Kurganov, who has pledged to donate any possible winnings to One Day Sooner. A $1,100 buy-in will secure your seat amongst the stars, with $100 being donated to One Day Sooner. We cannot wait for this super fun, star-studded event that supports such a great cause.
At Party Poker, we think poker should be fair as well as fun. Not like some of these guys letting predators get out of control. So unfair. You don't even stand a chance. It's like us getting in the ring with a boxing heavyweight. This is a David and Goliath situation. We're all Davids now. You know what that means. It's time for us to kick some Goliath butt. Yeah, you better stop it, all right? It's on. You love fair poker? Join Party.
You never know when your time is going to come to rise above the rest, to seize the opportunity, to be crowned a champion.
Every once in a while, you get one of those final tables that you say, wow. Tonight is one of those.